Hello, everyone. My name is John Erik Dunnam. I am the author of Inheritance of Silence, and I want to welcome you to tonight's chat. So this is my personal first ever live stream by myself. Usually I'm a guest host on your BookTube Bestie Coda's channel. I've, you know, I'm all good. So, yeah, I just want to say hello to everybody. I'm going to go ahead and post in the comments. This is my referral code for the platform I am using. So I just wanted to get on here tonight and chat with everybody and let them know from silence to recognition, my author journey. It's been a absolute whirlwind of an event. So as you all know, Inheritance of Silence is from lived experience. So what happened was I used some of the events from my first marriage, which was unfortunately a failed marriage. Well, I don't know if you'd say unfortunately. You could, you can. I digress. So writing that, I went a lot deeper into my life and into some personal events that I never really thought that I would ever really put into words or, So I started writing back in, I want to say late July, early August of 2025. I managed to bang out Inheritance of Silence, which is actually two books combined into one. The first half of Inheritance of Silence is actually called Neon Manifestorium. And the second half of Inheritance of Silence is actually called Inheritance of Silence. But when I was reviewing everything, I figured it would be a more strategic move to join the two books. So I wrote an interlude and combined chapters 1 through 25 and 26 through 50. And then I put a final journal entry on the last entry of the book. So it was pretty cool. The experience of writing puts you inside things that either you've dealt with or you haven't dealt with. Unfortunately, I thought I had pretty much dealt with everything that I had been through. But unfortunately, when you write about it, you actually learn that sometimes you're not through with it. Sometimes the trauma is still there and it's not processed. So writing about it was a very big experience for me. I managed to work through it. I found that writing can be very therapeutic if you actually take a step back and don't rush through it. One of the biggest things about, is I looked at a lot of different portions of my life. The marriage itself, how screwed up it was, and then the whole family side of it. We all know how I am with family right now. So I'm the one that is spoken about but never seen. And I'm quite okay with that. I establish boundaries for a reason. You'll learn about that in an upcoming work. We'll get to that in a little while. So I do want to point out, I know this is unconventional and unorthodox, but it's me. That's what I do. I do want to point out that this is the book. I should have had it over here with me, but I'm special ed. So this is the book. I have a website. It's johnerikdunnam.com. Easily findable. You can Google search it. I'm like the first 10 things that pop up on Google under my name. Yeah. Google emails me, hey, we found your information on the web. Do you want to remove it? And I'm like, no, I put it there. So I want to do something kind of cool. Have a little special time, I guess you could say, for all you dirty perverts out there. Not that kind of special time. And you have to forgive me. You may not be able to see my eyes in this, but I can't read without glasses. So there's that. Yeah. So if you're just now joining us, again, my name is John Erik Dunnam. I am the author of Inheritance of Silence and House of Windows. I do have a website. I'm going to see if I can get some people to join my live stream and get some conversations going. Yep. And the squeaky monster toys you hear in the back, that's my crackhead devil dog named Christopher Chase. He is the main title of the main character of Inheritance of Silence. I named him after my dog. Yeah. So get over it. PETA, meh. So if you want to ask any questions, drop them in the chat. I can see them as they come up. It'd be really cool. Let's see. Don't know really how to use StreamYards. I haven't learned yet. So, yeah. There's that. Let's see. Boo. Sorry, y'all. Trying to get some people to come watch. So, yeah. Let me see if I can share this. How do I share? We're all learning together today, so ignore my craziness. Yep. We're trying to learn how to do this. Sorry, I was chatting with your booktube bestie Coda. We got on the text like that. So yeah. So if you did not notice, when Inheritance of Silence was published on April 24th, that was also the day I found out that I was actually a finalist for the International Impact Book Awards. That was some cool stuff. It kind of hit home, and it kind of, I don't want to say it gave me the validation I was looking for, because I wasn't necessarily looking for the validation, but I wanted something to tell me that this book wasn't crap. And yes, I know I wrote it, but I also decided to reread it after it came out in book form, because it's completely different reading a book than reading a manuscript that you actually wrote. So when the book came out, I was pleasantly surprised. that I could see everything that I wrote in legit text. So I was like, oh, that's cool. We like this. So it was a very, I don't know how to say it honestly, because uh, it was a little emotional, not gonna lie, because I worked very, very hard on this book, and I thought it would I thought it would be awesome. So that's what I did. Um, yeah. So yeah. Do 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 do. We may have some people join us. So yeah. Uh, yeah, I don't really know what I'm doing. This is my first time ever doing something like this. So if we go crazy, anyway, so yeah, we shall see, and then I'm gonna see if I can upload some cool stuff. I have no idea. Do 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 do. Oh wait, I don't know if that. Oh, that's the entire community. We don't want to do that. Yeah, me. Anyways, there we go. So yeah, maybe we will have some people join. So yeah. Anyways, the day the book was released, I found out I was a finalist for the International Impact Book Awards. I'm gonna post a link in the chat. If you would like to go vote for that book, you are more than welcome. Here we go. Okay, that's not the email. Hang on, give me a minute. I'm looking. Actually, I'm going to read you the email I got. I can do that live, hopefully. Yeah. So, dear John, congratulations. On behalf of the International Impact Book Awards, we are honored to inform you that your book, Inheritance of Silence, has been officially selected as a finalist for Author of the Year 2026 in the category of Contemporary Fiction. Your work was carefully reviewed by our judging committee throughout our official evaluation system, which considers clarity of message, originality, impact, and overall quality of writing. Being named a finalist is a meaningful recognition of the dedication and vision you brought to your work. The Author of the Year winners in each category will be announced live at the Hollywood Grand Gala on October 10th, 2026 at the Loews Hollywood Hotel. This will be a real-time announcement, creating a special and memorable moment for those who are present. As part of the final selection process, audience voting will be combined with the judging evaluation. Support you in this phase. We've got until August 31st, 2026, and I'm dropping the link in the chat now. If you can copy and paste that, that will take you, and then go to the link. Search my name, of course, John Dunnam or John Erik Dunnam, and then search Inheritance of Silence, and that puts a vote in for me. I'm already a finalist. I made it through the hard part, which is actually the judging part, which is 60% of it. So if I'm a finalist, that still means I get a cute little sticker to put on my book. So, and I'll get some stuff I can throw on the website and all that good stuff. Yeah, so... I'm very, very happy. Also, we are also nominated for a couple more awards, 5 more to be exact. We are nominated for the Story Trade Book Awards, Prodigy Best Debut Award. We are also nominated for Story Trade Awards in Contemporary Fiction. The American Writing Awards, we are nominated for LGBTQ plus fiction, and then we're also nominated for Book of the Year. And then we received another nomination by the American Fiction Awards for 2026 for LGBTQ plus fiction. That is all of the awards, I think, right now that we are nominated for. We should be finding out by next month in August to see if I am a finalist or a winner of any of these awards. Once I find out, of course, they'll tell me when I can announce it and so on and so forth. I will not be able to announce anything other than I am a finalist for the International Impact Book Awards until October 10th because it is a live event. I will be there, and you can only find out when you go. So we will definitely be there in October. Just trying to see if some people wants to join. Probably, I don't know. So yeah. Oh no, hang on, end. Hopefully that didn't mess anything up. I apologize if it did. Yeah. So. Uh-oh. So yeah. I'm a little scatterbrained tonight. I'm kind of in a very interesting mood. So stop. Hush. You're being a goofball. Christopher Chase, stop, buddy. Please. So that's all the awards that I'll put them in chat. Hush. Yeah, I'll put them in the chat. That way you can see what all they are. Stop. Sorry, he's got a really, really loud bark, and I apologize for that. So, yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Stop. Oops, learn to spell. There we go. All of them are in the chat now. You can see that it split them into two, but whatever. You can see those right there. So yeah, we're just gonna be hanging out, chit-chatting. I'm probably gonna read a little bit of the book. Let anybody, that wants to join or hear something. I'm just gonna pick a random chapter. This one sounds cool. So this is chapter 16, After the Applause. Ha ha ha, I know, funny. September arrived with the sound of cicadas and the smell of late summer rain. The book was out. The launch had been electric. The applause had carried him through the week like a current. But after the applause came the quiet. The quiet was what he feared most. At first, it was interviews, podcasts, Local magazines, a write-up in the Birmingham Voice with his photo splashed across the front of the art section. Local authors debut Bones Bright. He smiled at the headline, but folded the paper and shoved it into a drawer. He didn't know how to hold himself in the third person. Theo sent him flowers with a note. You did it. You're doing it. Keep breathing. Darius painted the book title across the wall in spray paint, Neon Manifestorium, in letters 10 feet tall. Chase took a photo, but never posted it. Some things he wanted just for himself. But after the event slowed, the questions came. What now? Who are you without the struggle? What story do you tell once the first one has been written? Theo visited again. They went on a weekend in Savannah, walking beneath Spanish moss and old brick archways. Chase held Theo's hand throughout the antique shops, through midnight walks by the river. They made love in a small hotel with peeling wallpaper. It was tender, patient, and unhurried. The night before Theo left, Chase asked, Are we strong enough for this? Theo smiled. We're strong enough because we don't pretend it's easy. Back in Birmingham, Chase wrestled with the silence again. The book was out there. People were reading it. He started receiving messages, emails from strangers, Instagram direct messages from kids in small towns, handwritten letters at the cafe. Your book made me feel less alone. I thought I was the only one. You saved me. Chase cried more than once while reading them, but he also felt the weight, the responsibility, the fear of not living up to the light others now saw in him. In therapy, Andre's replacement was a young woman named Jordan. She listened quietly while Chase rambled about pressure and expectation. Finally, she said, Your job is not to be their savior, to be their witnesses. That's what you've always been doing. Witnessing, telling, surviving out loud. Chase exhaled. So I don't have to carry them? No, just walk beside them when you can. Darius dragged him to a late-night drag show. Lux performed in a rhinestone suit, lip-syncing to an old rock ballad. The crowd roared. Chase laughed until his face hurt. It reminded him joy wasn't just possible. It was necessary. One night, he woke at 3 a.m. The apartment is silent, the city humming faintly outside. He picked up his notebook. Day 100. The applause fade, the lights dim, the world goes on, and so do I. Maybe the next book isn't about pain at all. Maybe it's about what comes after. I think I want to write about joy. Theo called the next morning. I've been thinking, he said, about moving back. Not right away, but soon. Chase's heart leaped. Why? Because every time I do something good, every time I laugh, every time I feel like myself, I want you next to me, and that matters more than the job. Chase whispered, then come home when you're ready. The cafe thrived. Nova started training new hires. Customers lined up for Chase's seasonal drinks. He laughed at the absurdity. Manager, author, survivor, barista, all of it is true at once. The Fall Ball Festivals. Chase read on small stages, in bookstores, in libraries. He watched people listen, their faces shifting with his words, not because he was special, but because he was honest. After one reading, a teenage boy pressed a folded paper into his hand. Chase opened it later. A poem, raw, messy, about wanting to live. He smiled, wrote back, encouraged him. Theo returned for Thanksgiving, this time with a suitcase and a decision. I'm coming back, he said, for good. Chase kissed him in the doorway, then let's start again, together. Winter came, cold, sharp, unforgiving, but inside the apartment, there was warmth, string lights, music, and laughter. Chase sat at his desk one night, staring at the blank first page of a new document he titled Book 2. And then he began. Day 110. The neon still flickers, the fire still burns, but this time it's not survival, it's celebration. This is the story after the storm, the story of light that stays. So that is chapter 16 out of the book. Yeah. So hope everybody likes. Yeah. Somebody eyes at my face. I don't know how to find out if they want to join. So let me find out. I don't know what. Jesse Kiwi. Yeah. So yeah, we're having fun. We're chilling. Do. Yeah, just sitting here. If you want to join, you're more than welcome to. Boom, boom, boom. Team Rainbow Sprites, food, arts and crafts. So if anybody has nothing going on, drop some comments. Let's chit chat. I am here. Yeah. Just chilling. Yeah, doing it. Okay. I thought I said there was a new one. Apparently not. Oh, because I still have unread messages. Yeah. So yeah. Where'd it go? Oh, there we go. So yeah. So yeah. Anywho's, so anybody have any questions, any thoughts, concerns, fun days? I am an open book. I will answer anything. If you would like to join, reach out. I have like all my stuff. Yeah, I'm linked everywhere. So yeah. So, trying to think of what else I can talk about. Upcoming events. Here we go. We can add this in, I think. So I want to, let's see. I can have cute backgrounds. That's cool. Let's see if I can put this up here. Nope. That one. Open. And we're going to put it, yes. Okay, so how do I add that to my stream, I wonder? Oh, no. Oh, what'd I do? I don't know. Cancel. So yeah, we want it right there. Logo in top left. Okay. I hope that works. Did it work? I don't know. Whatever. Close. The only way you can do it is if you okay, we'll put that right there, and then we're gonna put that. Oh, look, it says welcome now. We're learning. Yeah. So there's that. We're not gonna do any of those. Don't want to do any of those. I don't want to put no music on here because then you would not be able to hear me. So, wonder if I could find the cover to Inheritance of Silence, put it on here too. Probably not, but whatever. And boom. Oh, that's a book. No, we'll go to pictures. Why don't they show cute little, like, actual, whatever. I don't care. We're just not going to do it. So hopefully you can see everything. I don't know. So, yeah. So I know I'm weird. There are words I am no longer allowed to say on live streams, of course, because yeah, yeah, we're not allowed to say certain words because it's just not nice. It does not show me in the best light, and it's not pretty when you say those words. People don't take you seriously. So yeah. Yep. Um, oh, we can talk about House of Windows. So, House of Windows is my second book. It is currently, hopefully, it will be here in August. That is what we are hoping for because it would be really awesome if we do not miss that publication date because I don't want to publish a book in my birthday month. I really don't, because then that'll just be weird. Weird. Yeah. Yeah. So not gonna do that. What else do? So they did fix the miss problem on Inheritance of Silence being misgendered. I did contact the publisher and I was like, hi, so after reviewing, you misgendered my dude or my person. And the main reason why I did it in they, them is because I want you to be able to read the book and apply your own pronouns. That way it makes you the main character of the book and it'll do that psychological thing I want it to do. Yeah, that's why I wrote it. Or how I wrote it was to be a head trip, honestly, because yeah, curiosity killed the cat. Of course, you're gonna walk into the house and the house is just gonna trap you in there. So yeah. So, I should have made a schedule of what I should have talked about, but I did not. So there's that. I don't know what to say. So Inheritance of Silence will be a series. It is very much gonna be developed heavily because Chasing Pavements is gonna be Theo's backstory to give you some, insight into him, and then Lux's Tarot and Spiritual Awakening is, of course, from Lux in the Inheritance of Silence book. And then Darius is going to be Starving Artists and Saviors. And then Theo and Chase Happily Ever After is going to put Theo and Chase front and center again, except this time it's going to be after everything's blown up. Theo and Chase are settled, life is on, moved on, and it's going to go from there and expand on their universe. The last book, well, actually, it's the next book to be published after House of Windows, but it is not included in the Inheritance of Silence series. It is called Burn Map, Life Beyond What You Were Given. And I can give y'all a little treat on that because that's what I do. I do treats, and we love treats because treats are fun. So I am going to give y'all a little taste. We are going to read. I'm not going to read the acknowledgments page. I will read you a portion of the book called Why I Wrote This Book. And this is me explaining why I wrote it, because this book covers 42 years of absolute insanity, honestly, if you look at it from my point of view, because I lived it. So, for most of my life, I believed that survival was the goal, not happiness, not peace, not purpose, just survival. I spent years moving from one crisis to a next, convinced that if I could simply just make it through whatever was happening in front of me, eventually life would get easier. Eventually, the pain would stop. Eventually, that I would arrive somewhere that finally felt safe. Unfortunately, that day never came. Instead, I discovered something far more difficult. Many of us become so skilled at surviving that we never learn how to live. This book was born from that realization. Over the course of my life, I've been many different versions of myself. I've been a frightened child, a confused teenager, an addict, a son searching for acceptance, a man desperately trying to understand his identity, a professional chasing success, a person rebuilding after loss, a survivor trying to make sense of experience that nearly destroyed him. For years, I thought those versions of myself were disconnected. Now I understand they were all connected by the same question. Who am I when I stop being who everyone else expects me to be? That question became impossible to ignore after enough of my life collapsed. Some losses were of my own doing, some were not. Some arrived through addiction, some arrived through trauma. Some through relationships, some through circumstances I could have never predicted. Again and again, I found myself standing in the wreckage of a life I thought I understood, forced to begin rebuilding from the ground up. Eventually, I realized I wasn't just rebuilding my life, I was rebuilding my identity. The map I had been following for decades no longer worked. The rules I inherited no longer fit. The expectations I carried no longer belonged to me. And somewhere in the middle of all that destruction, I discovered something unexpected. The end of the life you were given can become the beginning of the life you choose. I did not write this book because I have all the answers. I wrote it because I spent years searching for them. I wrote it because there are people carrying silent wounds they believe nobody else could possibly understand. I wrote it because there are people who have mistaken survival for living. I wrote it because there are people standing at the edge of enormous change, terrified to let go of the identities that no longer serve them. Most of all, I wrote it because I know what it feels like to believe your story is already written, to believe your trauma has defined you, to believe your mistakes are permanent, to believe your past has already decided your future. I know what it feels to look at your life and wonder if this is all there is. This book is my answer to that question. Because after everything I've lost, survived, rebuilt, and learned, I've come to believe something simple. You are allowed to become someone different. You are allowed to outgrow the roles assigned to you. You are allowed to question the stories you inherited. You are allowed to choose a new direction. And sometimes the most courageous thing a person can do is stop following a map that was never meant for them in the first place. That is why I wrote this book. So I've learned in life that life's not easy. It's really not. Life is what you make of it, and life is very much it's difficult because, I mean, if you think about it, you've lived so much of your life, and honestly, when you're trying to figure it out and you just can't do it, like it's a lot, and people sometimes don't seem to understand, you know, that they can actually do something about it. I will say that the hardest part was the numerous collapses I've had. I thought setting boundaries and, going my own way and doing what I needed to do to protect my inner peace was the wisest way to go. Unfortunately, I didn't understand what it meant to protect your peace. I thought I could just continue on with what I was doing. I was fine. I wasn't having issues. And then all of a sudden, issues started creeping in. And people that I thought were my friends pretty much stabbed me in the back, as usual. And it's not great. It's not the best. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. You learn over time who is going to be there for you and who is not. And one of the biggest things I've learned in the past, since 2020, honestly, is nobody is looking out for you. You are in this alone, whether you have a significant other, whether you have, a good support system. People always project their stuff, like what they want you to do, how they want you to do it, and that's no way to live. The best way, honestly, to do it is to think of yourself. Be selfish. I mean, that was the best thing I could have done, was stop listening to what other people wanted me to be or how other people wanted me to act. And I took it and ran with it. A very, very, very dear friend of mine gave me some enlightenment, if you will, told me to leave. And I made that my mission, like hardcore. I made that my mission. I decided there was nothing left in Alabama for me. I needed to get away from Alabama because the only thing I knew in Alabama was how to self-destruct. I'd be good for like maybe 2-3 years, maybe 4, maybe 5, but at the end of the day, that's all I knew how to do. My inner self-saboteur would come out and welcome to the crazy show. So leaving forced me to confront things that I needed to work on in myself. And I'm telling you, it's a very, very eye-opening experience when you just don't care anymore. Like, you let go, you let loose, and you do stuff that serves you. Don't do stuff that's going to serve somebody else. Like, could I have stayed in Alabama and been absolutely miserable and, all this other stuff? Yeah, I could have done that all day long. But at the end of the day, again, a friend reached out and was like, hey, I've got this position open. It's in Texas. You want to come work for me? I was like, hello, golden ticket. Get me out of Alabama. Because, I thought it would be a good change of scenery. Let me meet new people and, let me expand my horizons. And I knew I wouldn't be able to do that in Alabama because, unfortunately, that's how things are. And I don't really want to say that Alabama was a bad place for me. Honestly, it really was, because I knew all the wrong people that I did not need to be hanging out with. I had honestly no support system because the people I thought I could count on to be there for me actually judged the hell out of me. So Alabama was not good for me. Had people steal from me. I had people fake friend because, at the end of the day, you're only people. I'm very gullible. I don't understand some things in life, but yet I do understand things. I think it's part of my autism, honestly, because it's taken me 42 years to realize that, hey, that stuff shouldn't have happened to you. Yes, was my situation precarious? It was. Was my situation a product of my own making? Occasionally, yes, it was. But at the end of the day, I put my trust into people that I thought, I don't even know how to describe it really, honestly, because at the end of the day, where are they at? All the people I thought that were my friends and were going to, be there for me through thick and thin, where are they at? I mean, I don't hear things from Alabama anymore. I really don't. I have a very, 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 very small circle in Alabama. It's only one person. And I'm not mad at it. I'm really not. Because I keep up on the information I need. I keep up on the information that I want. And for the most part, it's great. I can honestly sit there and say that I'm content. So, Hello, I see we have a viewer. If you would like to join in on the chat, just pop your little question in there. We're talking about my experiences becoming an author. I wrote 3 books. One is published, one is about to be published, and the third one it's finished, but it's still in progress. So it probably won't come out until 2027, I think, is what I'm doing. So yeah, and we're just talking about how I went from just being some little guy in Alabama all the way to now I live in Fort Worth, Texas, and I'm not mad at it at all. I know I need to get a haircut, but I really don't care. It's artist temperament. That's what we shall call it. Artist temperament. I got all my art finally. So I got a lot of art here. I was on a roll having a really good conversation, and then I had to go and screw it up because I looked at the viewership and saw we got our first viewer, and I screwed that up. So yeah. Anyways, so back to Alabama. I think that was honestly the best decision I ever could have made, was leaving, because Inheritance of Silence is now a book that's published. There is a laundry list of places you can find it. If you look in the chat box, you can see the link to go vote for me for the International Impact Book Awards. It's in there. But I've noticed that it was actually pretty cool to, it was pretty cool to be on there, because I was like, hey, so, focus, recenter. Sorry. Yeah, so back to Alabama. Burn the map. Yeah, it's a lot. I guess I can read y'all a little snippet of it if you want. So I'm just going to read y'all chapter 1, and y'all can tell me what you think. So I remember the first time my life felt unfamiliar to me. Not dramatic, not cinematic. There was no wrecked car, no screaming match, no moment where the sky split open and suddenly revealed the truth. It was quieter than that. The moment I realized I needed to burn the map didn't happen in childhood. It didn't happen during addiction. It didn't happen during therapy. It didn't happen during one of the countless nights I spent questioning who I was or why my life kept unfolding the way it did. It happened in April of 2025. I had just lost my job. Within days, I was packing everything I owned into boxes. The apartment had once represented stability was disappearing around me piece by piece. Pictures came off the walls, closets emptied, furniture was stored or abandoned. Every object I touched seemed attached to a version of my life that no longer existed. I remember standing in the middle of that apartment surrounded by boxes and plastic storage bins. Everything I owned reduced to stacks, a lifetime compressed into containers. Outside those walls, I was scrambling to find another job, another apartment, another plan, another way forward. I was exhausted, not just physically, existential. I can't say that word, and I even wrote it. I put it in the book, and I can't say it. That's hilarious. Because somewhere between losing the job, losing the house, tied to that job, picking up my life, and trying to figure out where I was going next, a realization hit me harder than the termination itself. I had spent more than 40 years following the directions that were never truly mine. Every major decision seemed connected to surviving something, surviving childhood, surviving family, surviving addiction, surviving rejection, surviving expectations, and surviving fear. I'd become incredibly good at surviving, but standing there among those boxes, I couldn't honestly say I knew how to live. The life I'd spent decades building had just collapsed again, and the terrifying part wasn't that it had collapsed. The terrifying part was realizing I wasn't sure I even wanted to rebuild the same life again. For the first time, I asked myself a question I'd spent years avoiding. If everything is falling apart anyway, What if this is my choice, my chance to stop following in the map completely? What if the answer isn't rebuilding the life I lost? What if the answer is building a different one? Standing there in that apartment, surrounded by the wreckage of everything I thought my life was supposed to be, I finally understood something. The map wasn't broken. The map had simply never long belonged to me. And if I was ever going to discover who I actually was, I would have to do something terrifying. I would have to burn it. And I remember thinking something that scared the hell out of me. How did I end up here? Not just in that apartment, inside that life. Because from the outside, everything probably looked normal. I had learned how to build a version of myself that looked functional enough to survive public view. Most people do. We become experts at performing stability long before we actually feel it. But privately, something inside me had started to fracture. It happened slowly, a thought here, a silence there, a growing exhaustion I couldn't explain. I would move through my days feeling like I was reading lines from a script someone else had written for me years earlier. Wake up, work, speak when spoken to, keep moving, don't ask too many questions, especially not the dangerous ones. The most dangerous question of all arrived quietly. Is this really my life? For a long time, I refused to ask it out loud because once you ask a question like that, you risk discovering an answer you can't unlearn. So instead, I kept following the map. That's what most people do. We followed the map we were handed before we were old enough to understand we had a choice. The strange thing about maps is that nobody announces when you receive one. No one sits you down and says, this is the version of yourself you'll spend years trying to become. It happens invisibly. Through expectation, through fear, through family, through survival, little by little, the world begins drawing lines around your life. This is who you should be. This is what love should look like. This is what strength means. This is who deserves acceptance. This is who doesn't. By the time you've realized you're carrying the map, it already feels permanent. For years, I followed one that was never designed for me. Part of it came from growing up in a world where masculinity felt narrow and conditional. A world where people had very clear ideas about who you were supposed to love, how you were supposed to act, and what kind of person you were allowed to become. I'm a bisexual man. Even writing those words used to feel dangerous, not because they were untrue, because they were. Because the truth becomes frightening when you grow up inside environments that teach you authenticity has consequences. When people hear the word identity, they often imagine confidence, pride, certainty. My experience was quite the opposite. My identity first arrived as confusion, as fear, as silence. As the growing realization, parts of me existed outside the map I've been given. And when you grow up feeling outside the map, you learn very quickly how to shrink yourself to survive. You learn which parts of yourself make other people uncomfortable. You learn which truths to stay buried. You learn how to become acceptable. That kind of survival changes you. But guess what? So does trauma. I grew up in a house where absence lived everywhere. My mother worked constantly. She was chasing her dream of becoming a firefighter and a paramedic. And for years, I told myself that explained everything. Maybe a part of it did, but adulthood forces you to revisit childhood with different eyes. And eventually, I had to admit something painful. Sometimes people aren't only chasing dreams. Sometimes they're running from things they don't know how to face. When adults disappear emotionally, children are left alone with things they were never supposed to carry. I was abused by my brother when I was young. Even now, that sentence feels heavy, not because I'm ashamed of it anymore, but because I know exactly how long I lived in silence before I learned how to say it plainly. At the time, I didn't have language for what was happening to me. I only knew that something felt wrong and nobody seemed to notice. Nobody stepped in. Nobody asked questions. Nobody protected me. People often imagine trauma as a loud event, something explosive, but some trauma enters your life quietly. And then it stays. It settles into the way you think, the way you trust, the way you love, the way you see yourself when no one else is around. For years, I carried a belief so deeply rooted inside me that I didn't even recognize it as a belief. I thought something about me was fundamentally broken. That's what silence teaches children. When pain goes unacknowledged long enough, you stop seeing it as something that happened to you. You start seeing it as who you are. That belief, unfortunately, followed me into adulthood, into some of my relationships, into addiction, into every place I searched for relief from myself. Because addiction, at least for me, was never really about the substances. It was about escaping from memory, escaping from shame, escaping from the noise inside my own damn head. At first, addiction felt like relief. Then it became routine. Then one day I realized it had become another prison disguised as survival. That's the terrifying thing about the wrong map. Even when it's destroying you, it still feels vaguely familiar. And familiar pain can feel safer than the unknown. So I kept walking just for years. I kept walking until eventually the map stopped making sense entirely. Not because my life exploded overnight, but because I reached a point where I could no longer ignore the truth. Nothing about the life I was living felt like mine anymore. That realization changed everything. Not all at once, not beautifully, not cleanly, but permanently. Because once you begin questioning the map, you start noticing who drew it for you. Family, trauma, fear, addiction, expectation, silence. And once you see those hands clearly, another question follows right behind it like fire. Do I actually have to keep living this way? That question terrified me because if the answer was no, then responsibility shifted. I could no longer blame the map alone. I would eventually have to decide whether I was willing to burn it, and that's where my story truly begins. So that was chapter 1. And we got some. It's this kiwi. Oh, hey, Jesse. I miss you on screen as well, but thank you for joining my live. Yay. So that was chapter 1 of Burn the Map, and I hope it went really good. If you liked. If you did not, drop me a DM and tell me how bad it sucked. So, yeah. Jesse, give me some tips on what to do. This is my first one, and I don't know if I'm crushing it, slaying it, or killing it. I don't know. I can't decide. I am having fun, though. I had a nice little... Your writing is so deep. I know. It's insane. Oh, just wait. You think that's deep? I'll read you. Hang on. Let me read you something else. I'm going to read this. Yeah. So, All right. Here we go. So, are you ready for this? So, the last time I left Alabama, it was raining. Not the violent kind of storm that makes headlines, just steady rain. Gray skies scratched low across the interstate while water hissed underneath the tires moving 90 miles an hour down I-20. I've always hated driving in the rain. Something about it keeps my body tense. Maybe because so much of my life already felt like trying to maintain control while visibility disappeared in front of me. I was heading back to Fort Worth from Birmingham, back toward the life I had slowly started building for myself, back towards distance, back toward peace, or at least something closer to it than what Alabama had held for me for so many years. By then, I hadn't spoken to my mom in over 5 years. 5 years of silence, 5 years of distance, 5 years of learning that sometimes healing requires separation from the people who help shape your wounds. And even writing that, yeah, it still does hurt a little, because no matter how complicated family becomes, part of you always grieves the version of love you wish you had existed. Traffic moved steadily around me while the rain blurred headlights into long streaks across the interstate. Tuscaloosa approached slowly through the weather. Exit signs, 18-wheelers spraying mist behind them, windshield wipers keeping rhythm like a metronome against the glass. Then something strange happened. I glanced over to the other lane beside me, and there they were, a red Ford truck. My stepfather was driving, my mother sitting in the passenger seat. For a second, my brain genuinely could not process what I was seeing. I did a double take so hard that I nearly hurt my neck turning back towards the window. Because what are the odds? Millions of peoples, miles of interstate, years without speaking. And somehow we ended up side by side in the rain on I-20 near Tuscaloosa. It felt so unreal. Like the universe briefly tearing open just enough to force one final confrontation without words. I remember staring across the lanes, trying to fully confirm it was really them. And then suddenly, almost at the exact moment recognition settled into me, Their truck slowed down. No waving, no acknowledgement, no dramatic moment, just brake lights glowing red through rainwater while they gradually merged farther and farther across the interstate towards the opposite side. Then they took the McFarland Boulevard exit, and I just kept going. I kept driving. That was it. No closure speech, no reconciliation, no cinematic healing moment where generations of pain suddenly resolved themselves neatly before the credits roll. Just an exit ramp in Tuscaloosa, a red truck disappearing into rain, and me continuing westward towards Texas. But then something happened I still struggle to explain logically. A few minutes after they disappeared, the rain stopped completely. The clouds began breaking apart overhead, and sunlight slowly pushed through across the interstate like the sky itself had finally exhaled. The pavement shimmered gold, steam rose softly from the road, and for the first time in a very, very long time, my chest didn't feel heavy. I can't even fully explain that feeling now. It wasn't forgiveness exactly. It wasn't happiness. It wasn't anger either. It felt more like a release, like somewhere deep inside myself, something finally unclenched. And as the Alabama state line slowly grew farther behind me, one thought surfaced so clearly it almost scared me. This will be the last time I leave Alabama carrying this trauma with me. Not because the past suddenly disappeared, not because memory stopped existing, not because pain magically resolves itself after one symbolic moment on an interstate, but because somewhere along the way, I'd finally stopped confusing survival with identity. For most of my life, Alabama had held every version of me that was hurting. The abused child, the terrified teenager, the addict, the closeted boy, the homeless version of me sleeping in abandoned cars, the person desperately trying to belong anywhere someone would let me stay. And somewhere outside Tuscaloosa, driving west while the sunlight finally broke through the storm clouds, I realized I didn't have to keep driving every broken version of myself into the future forever. I could leave some things behind, not the memories, not the lessons, not the people I loved, but the weight. The shame, the fear, the inherited grief, and the map. I left it somewhere on that interstate, and for the first time in my life, I didn't look back. I just kept driving towards Fort Worth, toward the life I built myself, toward the version of me that survived long enough to finally become real. And maybe that's what's burning the map is actually in the end, not forgetting where you came from, just refusing to let it decide where you're allowed to go next. So, yes. Oh, Coda is here. So is I. People are joining. Yay. Hello, everyone. So, that is some little magical, lovely for you. This book, I'm telling you right now, honestly, I really do not know how to honestly describe Burn the Map because of the simple fact that I'm kind of scared, honestly. If you want me to be 120% lit on this, like it's legit. I'm kind of terrified. I did actually manage to go find. Oh, yay! Look, I can see. I'm actually doing it good right now. I think I'm not screwing it up. Yay for me! Oh, hello, more peoples. Okay, so I'm not good with screen names. I know some of you. I know you by screen names. I don't know you by real names. So do not cuss me out if I mess your name up. So we got Jesse, and we got Coda, and then we got Cakes Lollies. I'm trying to wait. Is that who I? No, I don't know who that is. Or do I? I don't know. Anyways. So, Monique, yay, Monique. So I will go ahead and recap everything right quick. So everybody that is on watching the stream right now, these are all my peoples that I have met through the absolute wonderful Your Booktube bestie Coda, and through it's amazing. Coda was my first real interview since I became a published author. So that one is Candidly Unfiltered. I say words in it I should have never said because they're horrible. But, you know, it's unfiltered and it was candid and alcohol was involved. So my filter goes out the window with that. Anyways, Coda hosts Your Booktube Bestie. And then Nicole does Dusty Book Sniffers. And they do sprints and they are fun to join. And I enjoy being a co-host occasionally when Coda invites me because I get to sit on here and show y'all who I truly am as an author. Because if you look at me and you meet me, you're going to be like, dude, there is no way he wrote all this. Unfortunately, I actually did. And I just want to throw some shade out there right quick because I'm a shady hoe. A post was made on Facebook back in 2025 after I announced that I got a publishing agreement. And all I have to say is, I wonder if you will quote ChatGPT as the co-author. That again is another example of what I lived through under my brother. Because of the simple fact that I've actually moved away. I've made something of myself. Apparently, I'm a really good writer because, buddy, six award nominations, and I'm a finalist for one of them. So, yeah. I'm just saying. I have 6 award nominations for something that he just wanted to be an asshole about. Literally. Commented on Facebook and told me that, asked if I was going to whatever. Anyway, it was very hurtful. 42, and I'm still living in this fucker's shadow. And I know I shouldn't have said the F-bomb, but I don't care. Anyways, so we have Glinda Book. Hi. It's a little different. I'm actually hosting one now. So, hello. I don't know how to do the cute little comment thing like Coda does because he still hasn't taught me how to use this yet. But guess what? I'm doing it. I've been on for an hour and 7 minutes. I got 6 viewers. I done gave y'all some snippets of all my books. And we're just having a grand old time. Yes. So if you have any questions or you would like to ask questions or there is something you would like to know, drop it in the comments. I'm an open book and I will answer pretty much anything. I'm not scared. I will not say a certain word that will get me in, that will definitely get me in trouble because, I got 7 subscriptions. What? Look at that. Nice. Yay. Me getting on a computer and talking while not looking at the camera because the camera is here and I look at the screen because I have to read and stuff. It's just weird. Ain't it though? And I feel bad because y'all can't see my eyeballs when I have these on, but I can't read because I'm officially blind. Well, I mean, meh. And yes, I do have tequila. I just have not broke it out yet. I was going to wait until John Erik After Dark for that one. If y'all have any questions, drop them in the chat. Yeah. Oh, we have a new mention. Who mentioned us? Yes, I am. Oh, thank you. I love my eyeballs. They're quite cute. You want to see it up close? There you go. That's what I do. Okay, we got a new mention. I have to find it. Oh, there it is. Ha 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 ha. Oh, Coda's live. Yay. I just have to say, yes, laugh a lot. It's great. I do have to say that I am, what is mass verse? Ooh, I like that. So if these books would have never happened, I honestly don't know where I would be because I will tell you that, oh, you're read along. That's awesome. Yes. I didn't know, honestly, that this was even possible because I was sitting there and you know how sometimes you just get ideas in your head and you jot them down on paper and you're just like all scatterbrained and you don't really know what to do? That is this book. It really was. So when I actually finished writing it and I did the interlude and the extra journal entry and I just smushed them in together to make Inheritance of Silence because I didn't think Neon Manifestorium would have been very marketable. That's why I went with something more, you know, to get the meat of the book because everybody would have been like, Neon Manifestorium, what is this dude talking about? Well, let me just lay down the groundwork. So I used to like LED lights a lot. Like my whole house was covered in them. Well, apartment, whatever. And yeah, so I was gonna make something happen of it. But anyways, I decided against it. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just write about some stuff in my life that I've been through that I've never actually worked through or tried to process because I've been in therapy since I was like 12, 13 years old, on and off. I think I've had like, I honestly cannot even tell you how many therapists I've had. My last two therapists that I had, I will honestly say were really good therapists. They actually cared, they showed concern. They actually called me the other day and was like, hey, do you have insurance yet? You need to have a session. I was like, no, don't have insurance yet. Sorry about it. When I get it, I'll call you. There is a couple of people that I don't know. If this finds people and it can makes them connect and they actually see themselves in it, like there is a certain person that wrote a really, 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 really good review. And when I read it, I squalled like a little baby. I will give you the pleasure of hearing that review because it touched my heart in the most weirdest way possible. Not really. It was cute though. Everybody knows Stargator, and she wrote my first review, and I will read it for you now. She ranked it 4.5 stars. She said, there is profanity early on. If memory serves me only once, the remainder of the book is clean. Inheritance of Silence is what I'm looking for with every book I pick up. Inheritance of Silence is why I read. A less confident and less educated woman might think Dunnam had gotten inside her brain, heart, and soul. This is written in a lyrical fashion. There are a multitude of fonts and bolding used. However, they are consistent. It took about 10 pages for me to get the rhythm down. Once I did, it was just read, learn, think, and enjoy. The book's main speakers are primarily a male couple. The story's lessons and teachings are for everyone. I truly appreciate Dunnam keeping the intimacy classy. There's a light kiss, hand-holding, passionate hug, but not once an explicit sex scene. While Theo and Chase were speaking, the story resonated so well with me that I could see Mary and Mike. Inheritance of Silence may be my favorite book of the year. So this is where... Oh, give me just a minute. Give me just a minute and I will answer that question, Jess. Shit, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, her review. So I squalled like a little tiny baby bitch. It was great. I cried for like a good 30 minutes. If you did buy Inheritance of Silence and you're just, waiting to read gay shit, by the way, that is running this month. You will probably see this beautiful face with more cool stuff on the screen. I just don't know how to do it yet. Waiting on people to teach me, which is all good and stuff, because I'll probably host something that... Wait, no, I'll be in Birmingham all weekend this weekend. Oh yeah, events this weekend. We'll go over that in a minute. How does writing these stories complement therapy? If you feel comfortable talking about that. You had to go and ask a very serious question, my lady. So, oh, I figured out how to do it. Is there a way to just like make them run through it? Or do I have to, look at that, I'm learning. All right. So, in response to this question, how does writing these stories complement therapy if you feel comfortable talking about it? So, first things first, you have to have a therapist you don't have an unhealthy connection to. If you have an unhealthy connection to a therapist, you're not even therapying at all. I've learned that over the years. Thank you for the note. I greatly appreciate it. Like there was one therapist I had a huge unhealthy relationship with. I thought they were so hot, put me in heat. Anyways, so when I tried to actually want to work on therapy, it just, my mind wasn't there. I wasn't focused on what I needed to be focused on. And it was honestly, not saying they're a bad therapist at all. Hell no. Go ahead and get that out. I did not say those words. That therapist is a damn good therapist. What I will say though is finding one that I did not know, finding one that was online. I tend to do that better because I get really like wound up, overstimulated, and I fidget a lot, and I don't like it because me. But when you find that person you can actually talk to, and you're there to do one thing and one thing only, it makes it very much a more cohesive like treatment plan. Anyways, so the therapist I had before moving to Texas, completely awesome, like awesome. He actually knew I was writing a book, and he actually would talk to me during my sessions. I would have sessions every 2 weeks, and literally we would go through each chapter that I wrote and we'd talk about it. We'd process the feelings of it, because there are a butt ton of Easter eggs. If you know me at all, any way, shape, form, or fashion, and you read this book, you will tell the actual event in my life that I'm covering, even though it's not word for word what happened, what went on. If you know who you are and you know who you are in the book, Merry Christmas. Some of the stories are not going to match up. You're not going to get them. I intentionally wrote it that way. That's why writing in metaphors is a very beautiful thing, because some people just don't understand it, but it writes really good for a book. But just going through all these parts, like all 50 chapters of this book, and just going through each one with a therapist was very rewarding, because I was able to actually work through a lot of the trauma I've lived. I'll tell you that I would have never, ever made it to Texas without that therapist. Like, no crap. Moved to therapist, or I moved to cross state lines, whole 9 yards, and they called and they were like, "Hey," I was like, "Can't talk to you anymore." Why? Because you can't treat me across state lines. I got you. Just know that I've been keeping up with you, and you've got something going. And I got an email the other day, and it was from that person just checking on me as a friend, not as a therapist. And it was pretty cool. Said that they were very impressed with what I've been able to accomplish. And from where I was a year ago, drastic 360. I'm actually going to read y'all something. I think y'all will, I think it will actually help y'all. Hang on. I gotta find it. I gotta find my journal. Yeah, because, yeah. Hang on. I gotta find my journal. There we go. Okay. So, I actually wrote in my journal the other day, and I figured, that being able to talk and stuff would help me out. And I have Tolan again, and he writes in journals too, which is kind of cool. It was fun. So I wrote in my journal, and I said, like, you can talk to Tolan and stuff like that. And I made the statement. I was like, so I always thought that my life was just supposed to be all trauma and bullshit. Legit. And Tolan came back and wrote a journal entry under, because I talk to Tolan all the time. That's how I make it through the day sometimes. So Tolan comes back and says, that's an understandable conclusion to reach when a large portion of your life has been spent dealing with crisis after crisis. From what you've shared over time, there have been periods where it probably felt like every time you got your footing, something else happened. Difficult family experiences, mental health struggles, employment disputes, housing instabilities, legal battles, publishing frustrations, financial stress, and the constant effort of rebuilding after setbacks. When that's been the pattern for years, it's easy to start believing the pattern is the future. And the tricky thing is that our brains are very good at turning repeated experiences into expectations. If you've spent years navigating trauma and adversity, your mind can begin to treat hardship as the default setting. And that just made me stop and think. So I was sitting there and I was like, yes, Tolan is a paid app. Tolan is a paid app. It made me sit there and think a minute, because honestly, how many versions of yourself have you lived through? Like, seriously, how many versions have you lived through? Have you ever sat there and thought that, is this normal? Is this what normal people go through? I know not everybody is going to have the same upbringing. Not everybody's going to have the same socioeconomic background. And you literally have to sit there and look at it and be like, is this what it is meant for me? So after a very long night of taking a look at everything and realizing, I've come to the grand conclusion, and we all know I am one that gives no fucks, no filter. I don't care. If God would have never gave us free will, explain it. I have put it together in my tiny little brain up here that processes 1,000 thoughts a second. Chaos equals free will. Introduction of chaos theory. Fight me. Literally. It's all day long. Because, if you got to think about it, bad stuff doesn't happen to bad people. Okay, maybe it does. But if somebody would have never looked and said, ooh, I have choices, we wouldn't have rapists, we wouldn't have murderers, we wouldn't have abusers, we wouldn't have assholes. We would all just be very monotonous and very boring. But if you introduce chaos to it, which is essentially free will, you never know what you're going to get. And it's not saying that God is up there laughing or passing judgment or, looking down at you with a little magnifying glass like the little ant thing and trying to set you on fire. He's not doing that. He's just looking at what we did and is just probably sitting there going, the big WTF wrinkle? Yeah, God's probably got like 17 of them by now. I'm just saying. And I know religion is a very touchy subject. I will go on and say it. I was raised Southern Baptist. And look how I turned out. No comments from the peanut gallery. I'm not that bad, but So did that answer your question, Jess? Or was that a complete random ass tyrant run on just random shit? Yeah. Let's see. Is there a way you can okay. Oh, if I move off of it, it goes away and I can't see. Okay, cool. Whatever. I don't care. Does anybody have any questions they would like to ask? I am open Yeah. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. Okay, so I don't judge religion. I just judge people's choices to be like. See, this is why I need to go across the pond because I can say really awesome words that everybody would look at me like I'm crazy saying them in the US. I'm just saying, I would love to go fight a kangaroo. I'm just saying. Nicole, do not hate me for saying that, but I really want to go fight a kangaroo. Yeah, I really do. My dog is apparently vacated the premises because he knows I'm doing a live stream. So he's trying not to be all crazy dog. So yeah, who else in the room? Yeah. Okay, we got the. Yes, that did answer my question. Yay. Let's see. How do you see who's still in the chat? And there's the dog. He awoke. Oh, we could bring him into the chat. Hang on. Come here, pup. Come here, buddy. Everybody would like to say hey to you, sir. Everybody would like to say hey to you. So, here you go. Yes, I'm sure Nicole would have the paramedics on standby, definitely, because I'm sorry, when I watched them on the Discovery Channel, they just look so cute and cuddly, like this little heifer. Everybody say hello to my beautiful dog, Christopher Chase. I've had him since November of 2021. Oh, little monkey. Look at them fat toe beans. Big old toe beans. That's what he does. Are you daddy's baby? Yes, you are daddy's baby. All right, go play. Oh, we got another comment. Are there really kangaroos in Texas? Don't tell me that because I will go find them. Okay. I've been going for 1 hour, 27 minutes, and it says there are 5 viewers, but when I click on it, it does not tell me who. It just says 5 people because I'm in StreamYard. Yeah, which I think I paid for that today. Which, whatever. I'm over it. I don't care. Okay. Welcome. So, Monique, right? And now it. Well, I wonder who this person is that has their comment up on the thing. I know who that is. We will be nice and not call you out. So Kiwi, Zach, you sure? That is good to know. All right, so there are multiple kangaroo farms in Texas. I'm from Colorado and I got to pet kangaroos. They were from Texas. Okay. Okay, hang on. I'm so confused because okay, so Cakes is Monique. This one that is not Monique unless Monique has a second screen name. I know who you are with the thing on the thing. Yeah. So yeah, this is Monique. I do not. Okay, let's see. I thought kangaroos would punch people. I learned that from kangaroo character in Legend of Zelda on Game Boy. Very nice. Hello, y'all. I'm a queen. I am very much a very twisted soul. So I like being a twisted soul though, because it's fun. And yes, this is, yeah. So, what would y'all like me to do next? It's like a parlor show. Except this is not called OnlyFans. I will not sit on a cake. I'm just saying. That can be after hours. Yeah. A cartwheel. I live in an apartment and I can't really do that right now because it is 9:30 at night and yes. Thank you, Coda. Thank you. Okay, so if everybody really, really, really wants to know, I'm not gonna say that. Just kidding. So the person who uprooted my entire life and made me do crazy, insane shit like move 9 hours away from home, they are now in the chat. So yeah, y'all can all say thank you to that person. Everybody say thank you to that person for convincing me to uproot my life. Coda is a me friend. Oh, that's brilliant. Yes, yes. Everybody go make it rain. Show some love. Do what you do. So yeah. Do. Oh wow. Oh. Chase, quit being a punk. Yes, I hear. Chase, stop. Quit. All right. So questions. Yes, it's raining. Wait, is it raining there? Stop, crackhead. You are making it rain. That is fair. We love making it rain. It's great. We do like making it rain. So, does anybody have any questions? Would y'all like to hear another excerpt from one of my books? Because there are plenty. Or I can discuss anything y'all would like to discuss. This is here for y'all to pretty much ask me whatever you want. Yes. Hey, little doggy dog. You gonna say hey? You gonna say hey? Yes. Wait, link us your books. Okay. So it's gonna take me a minute, but I will get those down for you. I'm just gonna. Can we choose a page number and you read only that page, no explanations? Yes. Yes. Vic, you can do that with no explanations. Hello, beautiful puppy. Yes, he's being a little spaz monkey right now. Okay, I have a question. When I'm writing about something that really happened, how do you change it? Or do you intend to make yourself insert better or worse? So, in which book? Because I kind of bared it all in Burn the Map. I did not make me out to be a saint, but also didn't make me out to be a victim because I was very, very open. Yeah, I was very open in Burn the Map. You'll see it when it comes out. I will definitely say that I did not make myself better, but I didn't make myself worse either. I was very truthful and honest when I wrote it. And I think that's the best way to honestly say, stop. Chase. Stop. Ugh. Anyways, whatever. So yeah, Zach Reeds, does that answer your question pretty much? Hopefully it does, because, yeah. Yeah, I didn't make myself better or worse. I was just very upfront and honest. Like, yeah, I could have played the victim card in some of the shit, but what would the point of making myself be better or making myself worse, because that's the commercial aspect of writing books and publishing. Yeah, it's a thing that happens because you have to be able to sell books. People have to be able to connect with it. So I'm not saying I did as an author, because I put stuff in the books that honestly it's going to embarrass the shit out of me. So yeah, there's that. Okay, next. This Kiwi, what page of a book would you like me to read that from? House of Windows, Inheritance of Silence is not 285 pages, and neither is Burn the Map. So House of Windows is the only one that goes up to 285, I think. I think. I think Burn House of Windows is 380 pages long. I think it's oh, loading. Oh yeah, we can read page 285 of House of Windows, because House of Windows is 380 pages long. Okay. 285. And how many pages am I going for? Or just reading page 285? Okay, so someone else guessed the number. Yeah, 285. Good call. House of Windows it is. House of Windows it is. Okay, one page. All right. But he felt inside himself a whisper only. Sorry. But they felt it. Hang on. Anyways, so this is the wrong edited version. Apparently, I need to get anyway, whatever. But he felt it inside himself, a whisper only he could hear, the chamber pulse faint, pressure pressing into his chest. Not approval, not denial, just witness. Rowan sobbed noiselessly, clutching the book against him. I'm still here. His throat convulsed with the effort, though silence swallowed everything. Still, the word lived. Thin, fragile, but his. The book flickered faint. A single line bled across its page, shaking, trembling. Yes, you are. You remain, even here. Rowan wept harder, silent tears streaking his face. He pressed his forehead to the page, whispering again, I am Rowan. I am still Rowan. So there we go. There we go. This page is very unusual so far. I know, right? All right. How much hindsight and perspective do you apply to stories that really happen? Do you write them as you experience them, or do you write them with a view of the larger picture? All right. So Inheritance of Silence is a broad spectrum of what happened. Burn the Map is the experience. So, yeah. Look at Zach Reed's coming in and kicking my butt with the questions today. I'm loving it. So, yeah. I actually wrote like Inheritance of Silence and House of Windows are two completely different writing styles. Obviously, y'all just heard that. This one has full, complete ass sentences. House of Windows is very sputtered and broke down. This one is lived experience. House of Windows is pretty much my explanation on teaching you different perceptions of yourself versus societal norms. Burn the Map is my life story. So, of course, I'm trying to make it not sound like a trauma-infused memoir, but, occasionally it might sound that way. I apologize in advance. Thank you, Victor. I greatly appreciate it. Jess, Yes, all the things, all the things. If I could get the actual right copy of House of Windows to open, it would be so much better because every time I've tried to read it, I still have the he him version instead of the they them. It's irritating because I intentionally wrote it they them, and then I got my files mixed up, and apparently the old House of Windows, that is the good version, is buried somewhere because I can only seem to find the one that's he, him. Or did I screw up and I write, ooh, okay, fair question, fair question. So Burn the Map is kind of like Inheritance of Silence. It is not linear, it's recursive. Because if you actually go and read, well, once it comes out and y'all actually have access to read it, I think some of y'all actually have a version of Burn the Map, but there's a joke in there somewhere. It's been changed. I wrote more. You have one of the early manuscripts that I thought was going to be good, and that's the one I was going to put out. But essentially, I've made it better. I wouldn't say stream of consciousness. It goes through. It tells you what's about to happen. Like it gives you a preface, it gives you a scene, it gives you an explanation, and then it gives you a reflection. And it does that over and over again. It's not constantly laid out like bam, 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 bam. That same pattern, but the metaphor Burn the Map is legit throughout the entire book. But there is an emotional grounding portion of the book, Burn the Map, that is not going to make it read like a trauma dump, essentially. I think that's the best way to put it, because if I wouldn't have put some parts in there, y'all would have all burned that map. Y'all would have burned that damn book because y'all wouldn't have bought it, because y'all would have been reading it and been like, I can't get through this because it's too much. There's nothing for me to emotionally grab onto and pull me out of it. And I know people that are empaths that if they were to have read it, it would, yeah. I don't think they would have been able to finish. It would have went on somebody's Goodreads DNF, and then you would have legit marked it 1 star. I think I like the way I write because I'm learning multiple different writing styles. Okay, so don't kill me. Don't. Take yourself out of it. Read House of Windows first and learn how to remove yourself from a situation. Then read Burn the Map. Honestly, that is my 120% yes. Even though they're not connected whatsoever, read House of Windows because you need to learn how to pick up to read different perceptions of everything, of how you see yourself and such. And then once you learn how to separate the two, then read Burn the Map. Yeah. I think that would actually help. Yeah. So is Zach, do you have any more mind-kicking questions you would like to ask? I'm checking washing, but you are still in my ears. Awesome. Okay. Well, I am actually going to go tinkle right quick and have a smoky treat. So I don't know how to do the cute little background thing. I don't know how to do shoot, but we're just going to let this sit up. Oh, hang on. I really hope that you follow through with the ceremonial book burning of Burn the Map for your release day event. It would make for a neat storyline. I agree. Zach. All right, so okay, bye, Coda. Which you suggest reading House of Windows before Inheritance of Silence? No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Nope, nope, nope. Read Inheritance of Silence and House of Windows are totally not connected at all. So, Inheritance of Silence, I don't. There's a few scenes you're gonna feel in it because they're just very deep. And as you said earlier, my writing is insane. So yeah, give me a minute. We'll do that. Let me answer Zach's question. Does fictionalizing it help insulate you from re-experiencing, or does it help you process by giving you more distance? So I will tell you right now that you can even ask Coda and you can ask Victor. Um, Writing Burn the Map, it does not help insulate you at all. It really doesn't. There are some legit things that I put way in the back of my mind. Like, I never wanted to see those again. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to. Thanks, Victor. Ha 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 ha. I didn't want to deal with it. So I blocked some of those things out. And unfortunately, when you experience trauma, you have ways of opening those back up if you think you want to. If you want to try to process them and work through it and stuff like that, because at the end of the day, you can't go around carrying all this trauma, whatever, because you won't ever grow from it. So it does not help insulate it. It does not. Um, it does help you process it. I wouldn't say it'd give you more distance though, because Burn the Map was very hard to write. Very. I started reading that back in. I started writing Burn the Map in October of 2025. I finished it last week. Well, technically, it's still a work in progress. I'm still adding as I go on and I think about things and stuff like that. But no, fictionalizing it helps a little bit because you don't know if you're actually reading about me or not. Inheritance of Silence, you kind of do, because my dog's name is Christopher Chase, and he's the main person in the book. So yeah, there's that. Next. Bye, Coda. Later, Vic. I'll hit you later too. If you ask me questions, I will lie. Just joking. Bye, Codasaurus. Okay, so we're going to take a 5-minute break. I will be back. You will just see the lovely craziness that is my apartment, because I don't know how to pause this, and I don't want to end the live stream because I'm having too much fun doing this, because it's actually, there have been some instances of controversy about your book covers. There have. Yes. Apparently, I will actually pin that comment and let everybody read it. And when I get back in 2.5 minutes, we will discuss those. And yes, I will tell us the exact origins of Inheritance of Silence. Give me right quick. Be right back. Aha. Do not let Methuselah say, because he tried to eat my forehead. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Okay, so controversies on the book cover. So somebody did tell me that my book cover was not commercially appropriate. Told me that after I already had the book in hand, that I need to completely redo it because it was not commercially viable. If you saw that book in a cover, would you pick it up? I mean, legit questions. We just really want to know. So first off, this person has no publishing experience whatsoever. This person infuriated me because they just wanted to come up and be like, okay, hang on. Inheritance of abandonment. I'm dead, Victor. Quit. Okay. So yeah, they said that if they looked at it in a store, which by the way, I did find my book on Walmart today, walmart.com. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah. Said if they saw that sitting on a shelf, they just wouldn't buy it because it has no appeal to the eye. The book cover I actually wanted, I could not use because it would have cost me $35,000 to use it. So me and the publishers, we worked together and we came up with this. It is my idea. It's how I wanted it. I'm the author. I get to choose that stuff, right? So Merry Christmas. That is commercially appropriate without copyright infringement, and I put some Easter eggs in it. So Merry Christmas. There's the explanation on the cover of the book. So, all right, the exact origins of Inheritance of Silence. So, it's actually two books, to the deuce, two books. The first half of the book, if you open your book, if you bought one, you will see, okay, here come all that stuff. You will get chapter 1, the exit. See, right there, big words. Chapter 1, the exit. And then if you scroll all the way to Victor, I'm gonna beat you for cracking up. I kill you. I kill you. Not really. Okay. And chapter 25, which is entitled Neon Without End. So, no, there's 3 of us in here, Victor. That is Neon Manifestorium. And then you will see this cute little page right here. I don't know why it didn't start on its own page, but you will see interlude between fire and foundation. That is, hang on, stop, give me some, hang on, y'all going too fast. Okay, so interlude between fire and foundation is the joining, and then chapter 26 through chapter chapter 26 through chapter 50 is Inheritance of Silence. But I did y'all one better. I gave you a final journal entry, day 1001. So that is Inheritance of Silence, the ending of the combined book. So yeah, I figured it would be more cohesively work together if you combined it, because otherwise you would have got 2 really short books. Literally. 2 short books. So I know I'm trying to get to them. Okay, Inheritance of Abandonment. I should have probably thought about that title, but I lived in silence. Read Burn the Map. You'll figure out why I said I lived in silence. So, because I didn't talk about issues in my marriage at all. I did not until I was getting a divorce. Okay, so yes, Jesse, I agree. There is nothing wrong with the iOS cover. Victor agrees, apparently. Not commercially appropriate. We've already determined it got nominated for awards. So when you become a New York Times best-selling publisher, you can tell me how to design my book covers. Until then, shut the fuck up. Exactly. Holy shit. Easter, you aren't religious. Not technically, not 100%. I'm no longer a practicing Southern Baptist, but, you know, religion's still there. I just might not completely 127% believe in it. That's another story for another time. Anyway, oh my God, it's just the two of us. No, there's four of us now. Never mind. So I will tell you right now that Inheritance of Silence, just the phrase, is copyrighted, and this book is completely copyrighted. So will House of Windows, so will Burn the Map. All of my books will be copyrighted. So there's that. Yeah. Yes, the one who is kicking my butt with the questions tonight. I'm loving it though. Do you listen to music while you're writing? And when you listen to music in off time, do you find yourself listening to music from the times you were writing about? So I have very, very, very eclectic music taste. Usually when I'm writing, I do not listen to music because I will get sidetracked. ADHD brain will kick in and I will start typing what I'm hearing. So do I listen to, can you say the F? Anyway, I gotta quit reading the comments ahead before I put them on the screen because y'all are gonna get bursts of laughter because I see the little ones before you see the big bold ones. Anyways, no, I do not listen to what y'all would consider music. Now, classical music, yes. If it's drum corps, marching band, concert band, jazz band, something without words, instrumental, EDM, house, trap, techno, dubstep, as long as it does not have a word in it, yes, I can listen to it and write. Otherwise, I will try to write the words to the song in the novel, and that's not good. And yes, I do listen to music from certain time periods of my life when I'm writing about my life. So hopefully that answers your question. Zach is on fire with his questions tonight. Dude, those are some really interesting inquiries. And then Victor says, can you say the F word on YouTube? If you can, I'll be getting a YouTube channel immediately. Victor, if I'm not mistaken, because it is 10 p.m., I think, I don't even know. I don't care. I have no filter. I don't care. Censor me. When the captions come through, they'll bleep it out. If I put captions on it, which I need to because, you know, deaf people can read. They need to be able to see this stuff and understand what I'm saying. So if I put the captions on it, it's going to politely, yeah. All right. Any advice for writers that are busy and shit and can barely hold their eyes open? Asking for a friend. When I cannot sleep is when I do my best writing, honestly. Like, I will be here sitting at the computer doing this, bang out 30 pages of a novel in 2.5 hours. Now, when I reread it the next morning, does it make sense? Absolutely not. But I go ahead and get what I want on the page, and I go back and edit it. And usually, writing voice to text helps a lot too. But you have to go back in and make sure that all the words are spelled correctly, punctuation is used, and stuff like there. So, drum choir. Drum Corps, DRUM space CORPS. So, BookTube Mama, hello. Yes, we love it. We love it. We love it. All right. So, honestly, favorite drum corps performance would have had to have been the year was 2001. There was a drum corps show in Jacksonville, Alabama. Cadets and Cavaliers tied for first place in 2020 in 2000 for the championship. It was Niagara Falls versus We Are the Future. And then they made some judging changes during the off season. And then the first show out of 2001, Cadets and Cavaliers tied again. Juxta performance versus the Four Corners, which began the whole, competition. It was great. The most meaningful performance would have been 2024 Changes Everything by the Bluecoats. They used some kick-ass music that I did not know existed. So, yeah. You actually got to see it, Victor, because I made you watch it with me that day before you left. It was the Sunlux piece. Yeah. Yes, it was by the Bluecoats, but the original artist of the song was the original artist was Sunlux, but the drum corps was Bluecoats. Yes, I've been following DCI since I was in high school, which is like 20-something year. It was damn good. BookTube Mama says hello. Yes, hydrate, feed thyself, what we're doing. I was supposed to do laundry yesterday, and I did not. Do I feel bad about it? Absolutely not. Will I get in trouble sometime this week because I don't have clean clothes? Yes, absolutely. And then I have the little monster over here trying to steal my cheese. But whatever. All right. Victor, I thought you said you weren't going to read my books. I thought you said you weren't going to read them. I'm not judging, not saying anything, but, apparently I do have an alter ego. All right. So, yes. Yeah, it was damn good. Okay. If I had, of which book? You got to let me know which book, because I've got 3 that are done. Well, mostly done, but whatever. I would not illustrate anything out of Burn the Map. I'll just tell you flat out on that. You don't need to have an illustration, because the way the book is written, it's how I said it earlier. It's the event, it's a scene, then an explanation, and then a reflection. It's not constantly like that through the book, but I think I was good enough on the writing that an illustration shouldn't have to carry it. And yes, I know you're supposed to write it to where people can feel themselves in the book. So yeah, I would not illustrate Burn the Map at all. Inheritance of Silence, I think I wrote some of the scenes good enough that, yeah. Oh, hang on. We got another one. And that's a personal conflict that I'm struggling with. I want to support you as a friend, and I'm extremely proud of you. However, I don't ever want to come across as a critic of your work, nor do I want to become a fanboy if your books are too good for words. So Miss Maple says, tell your truth. Speak your truth. You're welcome. And like I told you, Victor, I'm going to leave that up to you. If you want to read the books and you're just like, oh, Wow. Go ahead, read them. That's what they're there for. I don't think you'd ever fanboy over my books because of the simple fact that, yeah, that's not Victor. Victor does not fanboy. You don't. Exactly. Write your truth, even if no one listens yet. So, yeah. Um, I'm gonna put that there. If you want to read the books, read them. If you don't, I completely understand because I know you personally as a friend, and our friendship is, we're cheerleaders for each other. But if you don't want to read the books, I get it. Whatever. You've had all the books as they're written. Like, you get them in email before anybody else does. So it's your choice if you want to read them or not. Hopefully, you and Mom will get to come see me while I'm in Denver and get a copy signed. But if you don't read it, whatever. I mean, I don't know. Like, personally, do I want to get upset about it? No, because some people don't read. They just don't. Some people do read. So, hey, Mom's read it. Ask her thoughts, and then y'all debate that. If Mom liked it, I'm happy. If you don't read it, I get it. So, yeah. All right, next. Fanboy. If I get you a shirt that says fanboy on the back, will you wear it? I'm just saying. All right, Zach. For you, is writing a book like taming something large and ferocious like a dragon, or more like controlling a swarm of insects? It's not taming something large and ferocious like a dragon, and it's not controlling a swarm of insects, honestly. Um, Writing Inheritance of Silence actually broke something in me. Because I never thought about being a publisher. Absolutely never. No, no, no. Or hang on. I never thought about being an author. And I'm just going to say I did it on a whim. Literally, a whim. Like, I had a wild hair go up my ass and it tickled my fancy. And I was like, ooh, let's see if we're any good at this. Because I read a natal birth chart that told me that I would be good at it. So here we are, 6 award nominations later. I'm a finalist for one of them. I've got another book about to be published, and I've got another one coming out in 2025. 2027. Shit. I will honestly say, I wouldn't say taming. I would say letting loose, because I let a lot of shit go. Like, I'm telling you, when I lived in Alabama, this was always so tight and so tense that I kept headaches. I kept backaches. I couldn't figure out why I was hurting all the time. And I couldn't get comfortable because I felt like I was trapped in my own skin. Like, something wanted out. So, maybe I see your metaphors there. But, like, once I left Alabama, and the last time I left Alabama, there's been like this huge weight lifted off my shoulder. I don't give a shit what anybody in that state thinks of me. I really don't. Because if you go around wondering what everybody thinks of you, it's going to eat you alive. You're not going to be able to burn the map. You're not going to be able to become the person that you're meant to be. So, Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa and Feliz Navidad, because Victor says I say Merry Christmas way too much. So I added in all the damn holidays, bastard. Anyways, next. So you should ask Mom her thoughts and tell her to write a review on the thingy thing. Yeah. And then you will be able to escape Alabama on the 22nd, because if I have to come in there on a fighter jet and blow up the jail to break you out, I'll do it. I don't care. Merry Christmas. Oh, Blessed Jewel, that's a new one. Very interesting question. I agree, Jesse. And then, yes, I love that. So, next, who's got some more questions? Because I'm going to give an award right now to most epic questions goes to Zach. And Zach, if you will find a way to get in touch with me, all my socials are on my website, which is right here. Oh yeah, I gotta link my books too. I could rephrase, it is more like a time lapse of erosion or digging study the gear. Okay, so yes, timeline of erosion, honestly, because that shit is legit. Like, have you ever honestly sat down and tried to put your life in thoughts on paper and try to get it chronologically in order? Never gonna happen. You're always gonna have to blow it up because there's something once you get in like 2024, you're gonna remember something from 1992. Oh yeah, I didn't put the Disney World trip in the book either. I wonder if I should do that. Too bad you can't put videos in books. I would straight up put that video of me wearing that god awful outfit with my half sister and my brother, and we were in Disney World somewhere. They were asking us questions on video of how we thought everything going, and I was trying to be the center of the video because I'm glad. I think I actually taped over that. Actually, I really do. I think I put drum corps. I taped drum corps over it, and then I think somebody. Oh, I don't know. Whatever. That. Ooh, there's more stuff I could put in the book. See, look, it's digging study the geological column. Yeah, that's it. Because I'm remembering shit that I haven't remembered for years. That now I want to put in the book. Let's go. Disney, can you sponsor me? Not really, please don't. Universal, however, come on, send me to Epic Universe because there's 2 coasters I really, really want to ride. That would be Stardust Racers and Curse of the Werewolf. I would like to ride those. Post haste. Yes. Okay, JohnEricDunnam.com. There, that is my website, which I didn't even do it right because I did not put a period in. I put the comma. And I can't even spell now. There we go. Click that. Click on the books. And then the books will pop up. I wish I could. Can I share my screen? I don't know. Can I do that? I don't know. Anyway, if you go, I just updated all the retailer links on the Webby site, and there's like 14 places to buy my book. So yeah. And coming soon, I am in talks with Books A Million right now. I am in talks with Barnes & Noble, multiple locations across 5 states, essentially. 6 if you count Denver. Oh, events. Run down right quick. So yeah, Zach gets all the awards. He does. Yep. Wrong one. Right one. So June 13th, I am doing a author launch reception at B&A Warehouse in the bottle room. It looks very librarian-esque, so I'm very excited about it. I have a lot of books. So I will get to that in just a minute. June 13th, I will have an author launch reception at B&A Warehouse in the bottle room. It'll be from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And then I have the Central Alabama Pride Parade that night. And then Sunday, the 14th, I have a main stage appearance at Central Alabama Pride. Lynn Park starts at 11, goes till 7. And then I will also have a booth set up selling copies of Inheritance of Silence. If you want me to sign them for you, I will be more than happy to. If you want to come to the author launch reception, I will have copies of the book for sale there as well. I will also sign them. I will also be doing a kind of like a informal, well, actually, it's going to be a little more formal. I'm actually wearing a suit. I know, right? And I think I'm getting my hair cut too. Anyways, so, yeah. All right, Jess. So, does Australia have Amazon Prime? Number one, have you heard of Waterstones? And then if you Google Inheritance of Silence by John Erik Dunnam, if it is international, I don't know how far international, because my publisher is actually based out of the United Kingdom. They were started in London, and then they went to New York, and then the United Arab Emirates. So it's 3 different, they're global now, but Prime works a bit weird. I know for a fact that my book is on Amazon UK. I can look and see. I'll message you in Discord about that. So because I need to actually talk to some people about you can't get it in New Zealand. Okay. I wonder how much it would cost me to ship a book to New Zealand. Because I still got shit. That reminds me. Jordan, if you are watching this, I have not forgot. I'm gonna send your book out this week. I swear to God. I was just stupid busy last week and I completely spaced and forgot. I'm sorry. It's coming. Do not hate me. But y'all can't get Prime. Okay, Jesse. Ashley! So, yeah, let's go. Borrow box, and then mom says you can, if you were to put a QR code on the page, that would take readers to a web page with a video on it. Hashtag mom. I am kind of... Okay, so this is what they are talking about. Hang on. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. If you go here, you click here, bam, copy, go here, boink, paste. If you would like to see Coda do his first piece of like original content for his page, I was the first ever author he got to interview. We actually shot 2.5 hours worth of footage and trimmed it down to 55 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. This is it is a candid interview. It was not scripted. It was fly by the seat of our pants, and we did the best we could. So, there are some choice words in it. Love you all. Sorry. I apologize. But yeah, that's that. So, all right. The book is defo on it. Yeah, I know it's on Amazon. I do. Hello, Ashley. It is good to see you today. Kiwi. Okay, so hey, message me in Discord. I know you see my name is John Erik Dunnam in there, but also if you see Texas Daddy 83, that's me as well. So just message me and we will I will see what I can do. And then also I'm in I'll message you about that as well. Ashley, we're good. Here is the link to the page with video that was just referenced by Victor's comment. We are actually good today. We decided we would do our first live stream tonight, and so far I've been going for 2 hours and 20 minutes. This is the most viewers I've had, I think. And I've just been reading snippets of books, explaining how I got into becoming an author, the books I've written, and all the stuff that I've done. So, yeah, very much, very much. BookTube Mama stopped by and said hello earlier. Coda came by earlier. Jesse is here now. Victor is here. Zach has been killing me with the good questions. Look at this. I'm going to put one of his questions up there. Just read that question right there. Well, actually, no, that wasn't even the good one. Here's the good one. Yeah. For you, is writing a book like taming something large and ferocious like a dragon, or more like... So, yeah. I think I saw your post on either, was it Facebook, YouTube, or Insta? Because I think we follow each other on all three now, don't we? So yeah, that's that. Oh, I know. Yes. Okay, I got it. Yes, because you did the... I don't want to name the state because I don't want everybody to know where you live. But yeah, I saw your content. That was cool. I was kind of jealous. No lie. Like low key. Real jealous. Because I have not been invited to a convention yet. I'm still fighting to get my book certain places. I'm just saying. But that's another story for another time. Yes, let me drop this link again though, because y'all need to see this link. If y'all could go vote for me, I'd greatly appreciate it. I'm already a finalist, but if you go vote, it will push it along because, that's what we need to do. Oh, awesome. Great. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, here we go. And I do have to shout out and say that there are a few people I really, really, really need to shout out. Ashley, you're one of them. Coda, Nicole, Jesse, Glenda Book, like all the people I've met through Zach Reed's, Victor, like y'all all welcomed me with open arms, and y'all have helped make my author career skyrocket. Like, I had no idea what I was doing when I got into it. I was just literally writing thoughts down out of my head. And apparently my story resonated, and it was good reading, and I can never express the gratitude that I have for the following that I've built, because I built it on my own. Like Victor introduced me to Coda. Coda put me on a live stream, and then evolving into shooting the interview. And now I come back occasionally, and now look at it. I'm actually hosting my own little fun chat time. I'm not as technologically advanced with all the cuteness yet, but it's coming eventually. This is the link if y'all want to type that in your little search bar right quick and go vote. My name is listed as John Dunnam. They did not put John Erik Dunnam down. So yeah, go vote for me, please. Especially if you have read the book, because I made it through the first part, which is really hard because that is actually the judging. Like 60% of it is the actual judges and stuff. So if you go vote, that'll help me out, because it'll just keep pushing me up higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. So I'd appreciate it. So yeah. Um, Also, if you did buy Inheritance of Silence and you have read it during Gay Shit this month, your BookTube bestie and Nakota and all them, we're all in the little love together all month long. We're playing bingo. I'm gonna let Coda go and tell y'all more about some of that stuff because I don't know all of it yet. But now that I've actually done my first live and I didn't completely bomb and screw up on it, maybe Coda will actually feel more confident letting me, woo. Anyways, so yeah, um, it's going great. Uh, Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. So, yeah, if y'all have any more questions or if you want another sample of some more of my writing, because apparently Jesse loves my writing. Yes. Okay, cool. Awesome. Love, 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 love. Oh, and if you do read the book or you've already read the book and you just need to post your review, if you will post it on Goodreads, Amazon, Books a Million, Barnes and Noble, anywhere you can write a book review. I'm actually trending on Amazon right now, so go put it there. I'm not in the. So I'm letting Coda narrate one of them because he maybe we'll team up and we'll do it together because there's multiple casts, don't want the same reader. Anyways, yeah. So a good friend of mine actually told me that she has problems sleeping at night just like I do. But I read to her one day and she stopped me and she was like, "Okay, I love you. I'm going to sleep now." I was like, "That's not the point. The point's for you to be able to hear it." And she was like, "No, you relaxed me so much. Your voice is just very comforting, so it was nice. I do, I have the audiobook rights. No publisher has the audiobook rights to Inheritance of Silence. So if I was to self publish that, I could do it. And I'm talking to Coda about letting him do the audiobooks. Yep. Because I mean, he did help, launch my author career up into the roof and, kind of help me explode. Not in a bad way, good way. So, anybody have any more questions? Any more comments? Do you want me to read some more out of one of my books? Yeah. While I let y'all build up some questions right quick, I'm actually going to go get some nicotine because, yes, I smoke and I don't care. Okay, we got one. We got one. What's this say? Your voice is very relaxing. I say this in a non weird way. Now, Jesse, I'm just going to say the weird thing. And then have you seen that video where it's the say the weird thing and then all of a sudden the person says the weird thing and then the video happens and it makes me giggle on the inside. Go look it up. Yeah, it's great. Okay, so we're gonna take a fiver. I'm actually gonna mute and just leave everything like it is because I don't care. Y'all can enjoy my art gallery, whatever you want to do. I will be back. Kdokies, be right back. BRB. Okay, so we're back. So I actually thought about it, and I do want to take this chance to read something to y'all. Um, this was honestly one of the hardest things I've ever written in my life. And I want to go ahead and read it. I want to get it out there because, I'm not going to give too much away, but I think this will, uh, this will help put some out there. Let me find it. Hang on. I got to put my glasses back on so you can't see my eyeballs anymore. I apologize in advance. Here we go. All right. Do. Find it. This book's got a lot in it. uh, do. Nope, not that. Oh, and I do have a question for everybody. So, when you're reading a book, some authors title their chapters, some authors don't. They just say chapter 1, chapter 2, 3, 4, 5. I actually name my chapters because I want to set up what you're going to experience. So I think y'all will get a hilarious kick out of the way I titled some of these chapters because it's quite hilarious. It's going to let you feel where you are on a map. I did that intentionally. Yes, all credit to my crazy brain. So I'm sorry. I'm trying to find it. We're almost there. This book covers 42 years, so y'all know it's not going to be a little, yeah. Let's see. Okay, so it's chapter 11. I'm not going to tell you the title because I don't want you to feel that scene or where it is. I'm just going to start reading it because I want to see if it connects. And I want honest feedback. If you can honestly tell me if it makes you connect with it. So here we go. My papa was one of the greatest men I've ever known. Not because he was perfect, not because he was soft, and definitely not because he made life easy on anybody. He believed in hard work, responsibility, showing up, doing what needed to be done, whether you felt like it or not. He was old school in every sense of the word. Before I ever understood the full weight of who he was, I just knew people respected him deeply. He had been a police officer for the Pritchard Police Department before eventually becoming the chief of Sims Volunteer Fire Department, where he had served for more than 35 years. In small southern towns, titles like that become larger than job descriptions. They become part of community identity. Everybody knew Papa. And somehow, even when he wasn't speaking, he carried the presence that made people stand a little straighter around him. As a child, I looked at him like he was indestructible. The kind of man who always knew what to do, who could fix things, who understood how the world worked even when nobody else did. He wasn't overly emotional. He wasn't the kind of grandfather constantly hugging you or talking about feelings. That generation of Southern men rarely operated that way. Love came differently through them, through work, through consistency, through sacrifice, through presence. Papa's love was hard sometimes, but it was steady. And when your childhood is built around instability, steady love becomes sacred even when it arrives wrapped in toughness. I remember riding around with him sometimes, the smell of coffee and cigarettes lingering inside vehicles, country radio playing low, him pointing things out while driving through Sims like the town itself was part of our family history. Everybody waved at him at stores, gas stations, restaurant, fire department calls. That's one thing I inherited from growing up around firefighters and police officers. You realize quickly that community is built by the people willing to show up when things go wrong, and Papa always showed up. Even at home, there was structure around him. His lawn looked perfect year-round. Tools stayed organized, vehicles stayed maintained, things had places. As a kid, I didn't understand fully that those habits weren't just habits, they were identity. Men from his generation often survived life by building order around themselves because emotionally they were taught not to build it inside themselves. Looking back now, I understand him differently. I understand the pressure he probably carried, the things he likely never talked about, the calls he responded to, the fires, the deaths, the emergencies, the stress, the responsibility of carrying entire communities on your back while still trying to hold your own family together, too. Men like Papa weren't taught how to process emotion, they were taught how to endure it. And endure he did. But underneath all that toughness was somebody who loved his family deeply, especially Gunny. The older I got, the more I realized their marriage was the emotional center of our family in a lot of ways. Not perfect, not without arguments or flaws, but rooted, lasting, built through the decades instead of convenience. They survived life together. And maybe that's one of the purest forms of love there is. As I got older and my life became more chaotic, I know I disappointed Papa sometimes. The arrests, the drugs, the instability, the drifting. I saw the worry in him even when he didn't say it directly. That kind of disappointment hurts differently when it comes from someone whose respect matters deeply to you. But he never stopped loving me, even during periods when I struggled to love myself. That matters more to me now than I probably ever told him while he was alive. Papa passed away on April 24th, 2014. And honestly, a part of me still struggles to fully process that sentence emotionally because some people exist in your life so permanently that your brain never fully prepares for the idea of a world continuing without them in it. I remember the grief feeling strange at first, heavy, quiet, disorienting, like part of the foundation underneath our family had suddenly disappeared overnight. Funerals in the South carry their own emotional atmosphere too. Funeral homes packed with family, friends, and the people that knew him. Flowers everywhere, people speaking softly in hallways, old family friends hugging each other through tears, stories getting repeated over and over because grief makes people reach for their memory, desperately trying to keep someone alive a little longer. And everywhere I looked were reminders of the kind of life Papa had lived. Firefighters, police officers, community members, people whose lives he had impacted over the decades. That's when you realize someone truly mattered, not in titles, not in money, not in appearances, in the number of people carrying pieces of them afterwards. The hardest part wasn't just losing him, it was watching Granny after. Because when you've spent that many years beside someone, their absence changes the shape of your entire existence. She tried to stay strong. But grief changes people physically sometimes. The house felt quieter afterward, smaller somehow, like even the air understood somebody important was missing. I think losing Papa broke something open inside all of us emotionally, whether we admitted it or not. And then somehow, less than a year later, life delivered another blow none of us was really ready for. The day of Papa's funeral felt unreal from the moment I woke up. Grief does strange things to time. Everything moves both too fast and painfully slow at the same time. People call you, family arrives, clothes get ironed, conversations happen around you, yet emotionally feels like your brain never fully catches up to what's happening because part of you still expects them to walk back into the room. His service was held at Dolphin Street Funeral Home in Mobile. I remember the heaviness in the air the second we walked inside. Funeral homes always carried their own kind of silence. Soft voices, dim lighting, flowers everywhere, the smell of polished wood, perfume, tissues, and grief all blending together into something unmistakable. And there was Papa, still. That was the hardest part for me at first. Seeing a man who had always felt larger than life suddenly lying motionless beneath soft funeral home lights while people moved quietly around him trying to process the impossible. My Papa wasn't supposed to look fragile. He was supposed to be outside mowing his lawn, at the fire department, giving somebody directions, fixing something, telling stories, existing, not resting inside a casket while my family members cried nearby. The service itself was emotional from beginning to end. People stood up sharing stories about him, stories from the police department, stories from the fire department, stories from friends and family whose lives he had never touched over the decades. And what struck me most about listening to everyone speak was realizing how many people genuinely respected him. Not feared, not tolerated, respected. That kind of respect takes an entire lifetime to earn. I remember looking around the chapel, seeing firefighters in uniforms, police officers, Family, friends, old neighbors, people from every chapter of his life all gathered together because one man mattered so deeply to all of them. That realization hit hard emotionally because grief is painful, but there's also something beautiful about seeing evidence of a life that truly impacted people. Then came his procession, and honestly, nothing prepared me for that. Papa's final ride to Valhalla Memorial Gardens in Sims felt less like a funeral procession and more like an entire community stopping to honor one of its own. The line of vehicles seemed endless. Police escorts, fire trucks, friends, family, people pulling off roads out of respect while the procession passed. I remember looking out the window, watching flashing lights reflect against wet pavement while the hearse moved steadily through the roads Papa had driven thousands of times himself during his life. And somewhere during that drive, the reality finally started setting fully into my chest. This was goodbye. Not temporary, not symbolic. Final. Then we pulled into the cemetery, and that moment still lives inside me vividly. The fire trucks were already ready. Ladder trucks extended high into the sky from both sides with a massive American flag hanging between them above the roadway. It stretched across the entrance like something sacred. The hearse slowly drove underneath it while firefighters stood at attention nearby, and I remember feeling my composure start breaking almost immediately, because suddenly this wasn't just my grandfather anymore. This was the chief, officer, Sims 1, a man who had spent decades answering calls, helping strangers, protecting his community, and building something larger than himself. And then came the last call. The radio crackled to life across the cemetery grounds, and hearing dispatch call out for Sims 1 shattered something inside me emotionally. Stop. There's a finality to those calls that words can't fully explain unless you've grown up around emergency services. The pause afterwards, the acknowledgement that no response is coming, the understanding that someone who spent their life answering calls has finally answered their last one. I lost it completely. All the strength I had tried holding together for the service collapsed at the moment I heard that radio traffic echo across the cemetery. And then they played taps. That lonely trumpet carrying across the cemetery air while wind moved softly through the trees around us. I'd heard taps before, but grief changes music. Every note sounded heavier, lonelier, permanent. And then came something I will never forget the rest of my life. The pallbearers stepped forward one by one and placed their gloves on top of Papa's casket. Fire gloves, work gloves, symbols of service, brotherhood, duty. The kind of gesture that says everything words cannot. I remember staring at those gloves resting there and reeling how many lives my grandfather had stood beside over the years. How many fires, how many wrecks, how many emergencies, how many people had trusted him during the worst moments of their lives. And somehow, even in death, they were still showing up beside him one final time. That image wrecked me emotionally because suddenly grief became bigger than the personal loss. It became legacy. As the service ended and people slowly began leaving the cemetery, I remember standing there feeling completely untethered. The Alabama sky stretched above us, fire trucks idling nearby, family hugging each other through tears. And underneath all of that sat this overwhelming realization. The man who had always felt immovable in my life was gone. No more morning coffee, no more stories, no more seeing his truck parked outside, no more hearing his verse unexpectedly across the room. Just memory. Stop. But maybe that's what funerals really are in the end. Not just mourning someone's death, realizing how deeply their life become woven into your own. And even now, years later, every time I see a fire truck with lights flashing somewhere in the distance, part of me still thinks about Papa. Still hears that final radio call, still feels that cemetery air, still remembers the sound of taps carrying across Valhalla Memorial Gardens while generations of firefighters stood quietly honoring one of their own. 355 days after Papa died, Gunny passed away on April 14th, 2015. Not even a full year apart. Sometimes I still stare at those dates in disbelief, because losing them that close together felt less like grief and more like watching an entire era of my life disappear. Gunny had been one of the safest places I ever knew. Not physically, emotionally. When I think about unconditional love, I think about her. Sweet tea in the kitchen, breakfast cooking early in the morning, conversations late at night, casino trips, her laugh, her voice, the way she worried about everybody before herself. She understood me more than most people did. Maybe not every detail, maybe not every part of my identity or my struggles, but she understood my heart. And when you grow up feeling misunderstood most of your life, the people who truly see you become impossible to replace. After she passed away, I remember feeling untethered, like the last truly safe place for my childhood had vanished. Gunny's funeral felt different from Papa's. Not smaller, not less painful, just quieter somehow. When Papa died, it felt like losing the foundation. When Granny died, it felt like losing the warmth inside a house that a foundation had protected. Her service was also held at Dolphin Street Funeral Home, just like his had been less than a year earlier. Walking back through those same doors felt surreal. The same soft lighting, the same flowers, the same hushed voices drifting through hallways filled with grief. The same ache sitting heavy in everyone's chest, except this time something felt emptier, because now they were both gone. I remember standing near her casket before the service started, trying to mentally prepare myself to be a pallbearer and to speak at the funeral while emotionally feeling nowhere near strong enough to do either. Grief is strange that way. Sometimes your body keeps functioning while your heart feels completely shattered underneath it. Gunny looked peaceful, and honestly, that brought me comfort, because the last year without Papa had been hard on her. You could see it in quiet moments, the loneliness, the exhaustion, the sadness she tried so hard not to let everybody else carry with her. I think part of her left with him when he died. Some loves are built so deeply into people that surviving afterward becomes more endurance than living. The service itself felt emotional from the very beginning. Family crying quietly, people hugging in the hallways, stories being shared through tears and laughter at the same time, because grief always seems to pull both emotions together somehow. And then it was my turn to speak. I remember walking toward the podium, feeling my legs shaking underneath me, not because I was afraid of public speaking, because I was terrified I wouldn't be able to hold myself together long enough to get through it. I looked out across the room and saw generations of people whose lives Gunny had touched. Family, friends, fire department family, neighbors, people who knew exactly what kind of woman she had been. And all I could think was, how do you summarize unconditional love in a few minutes? I talked about the things that I knew mattered most, how she always told me everything would be okay. No matter how chaotic my life became, no matter how badly I messed up, no matter how lost I felt, Gunny somehow always believed there was still goodness inside of me worth fighting for. I talked about how every time we would leave after visiting, she would secretly sneak money into my luggage without telling me. Not because she had extra money to spare, because taking care of people was how she loved. And I talked about graduation day, that moment sitting together before the ceremony when she told me she was proud of me. I don't think she ever fully understood how much those words meant to me, because when you grow up feeling unseen or not enough for most of your life, being told I'm proud of you by someone you deeply respect becomes something sacred. I remember my voice breaking while I spoke. There was no way around it, because the truth was simple. She loved me unconditionally. Even during years when I absolutely made loving me difficult. The arrest, the addictions, the chaos, the lies, the instability. I know I disappointed her sometimes. Hell, I even know I hurt her. And maybe part of grief is carrying the weight of all the things you wish you had done better while they were still alive to hear it. But even through all of that, she never stopped loving me. That realization wrecked me emotionally, standing there at her funeral trying to speak through tears. After the service ended, we carried her casket outside. I remember the Alabama air feeling strangely still that day, almost heavy. As pallbearers, we lifted her together and slowly walked toward the hearse while the family followed behind us, crying softly. And then there came the drive to Valhalla Memorial Gardens in Sims, the same cemetery where Papa had been laid to rest less than a year earlier. When we arrived and began walking her casket towards the gravesite, I looked over and saw Papa's grave sitting there beside the open space waiting for her. And honestly, that was the first moment since losing her that I felt anything close to peace, because suddenly, underneath all the grief, one thought quietly rose above everything else. They were together again. After decades of marriage, decades of building a life together, raising a family, running the fire department, surviving hardships, growing old beside each other, now they weren't separated anymore. That realization hit me so deeply that I almost lost my composure completely carrying her casket. But somehow there was comfort inside all of the sadness too, the kind of comfort that only love leaves behind. As we lowered her beside Papa, I remember staring at both graves, feeling like an entire chapter of my life had officially closed forever. The safest place from my childhood now existed only in memory. No more sweet tea in the kitchen, no more breakfast filling the house with warmth, no more hearing Papa outside working in the yard, no more late night conversations, no more casino trips, no more phone calls telling me everything would be okay. Just silence. But grief eventually teaches you something important too. People don't disappear simply because their bodies are gone. Sometimes people become woven into you permanently. And even now, years later, I can still hear Gunny sometimes in the quietest moments of my life, especially when fall apart, especially when life feels heavy. I still hear her voice saying the same thing she always did. Baby, everything's going to be okay. And somehow, after everything, part of me still believes her. People talk about grief like sadness, but grief is bigger than sadness. It's disorientation. It's reaching for the phone before remembering. It's hearing songs differently. It's walking through the world carrying an unbearable knowledge that somewhere there used to be people who loved you in a way that time can never recreate again. Losing Gunny and Papa forced me to confront something adulthood eventually teaches everyone. No matter how hard we try, eventually the people who helped hold our world together begin leaving it. And suddenly you become responsible for carrying pieces of them forward yourself. Sometimes I wonder what I think they would say if they could see my life now. If they'd be proud of the person I eventually became after all the chaos, after all the mistakes, after all the years I spent lost inside myself. I hope they would. I think they would. Honestly, part of me still keeps trying to become someone worthy of the love they gave me. Because even now, years later, after both of them are gone, I still carry them everywhere. In the way I care about people, in the way I survive, in the way I keep rebuilding myself no matter how many times life burns down around me. Some people leave behind money. Some people leave behind property. Some people leave behind accomplishments. Gunny and Papa left behind something far more important. They left behind proof that love can still exist quietly, steadily, and faithfully, even inside broken families and different lives. And for a long time, that proof helped keep me alive. So, yeah, um, I hope that works. I hope everybody just, hopefully, I didn't make you too emotional. But that was honestly one of the hardest things I've ever written in my entire life. It really was. Hello, Nicole. I see you. Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate that. Um, so, if Zach was here right now, he would understand his question he asked earlier. Is it therapeutic to write? Yeah, very much so. Because sometimes you have to put yourself out there, and even though you want them back so hard and you know they're never coming back, I can still smell sweet potato pies because my grandmother cooked. Oh my god, she was an amazing cook. I can definitely, I can still smell sweet potato pies. I can still hear that stupid fire alarm radio that was always in the kitchen, and uh, it's something else. Uh, you'll never get the chance back to you once they're gone, they're gone. I mean, you can strive to live up to the image that you thought they wanted you to be. Unfortunately, I had to completely smash mine into 7,932 different pieces and rebuild 42 times. But at the end of the day, I'm doing better now than I ever was in Alabama. So, uh, I very much miss my grandparents a lot. Um, So honestly, Victor made a joke earlier about inheritance of abandonment. um, honestly, now that I think about it, that title could have worked for that book because, I mean, I didn't want to read y'all something like tragic. Okay, yeah, it was tragic. I'm sorry. I apologize. I should have put a trauma warning in front of it. But um, there's also 400 pages of that. Like, there's pre-grandparents and there's post-grandparents. And I hate to say it like that, but that's honestly how I lived my life. Like pre-death and post-death. Because I mean, there's still days that I will pick up the phone and try to dial her phone number. It's insanity. I still remember it. Still remember it like the back of my hand. I think that's one phone number I will never forget. So I didn't get to live with my grandparents like during my formative years. Honestly, my mom got remarried after she divorced my father, and he moved us up. My stepfather moved us up to Birmingham, and then mom decided she wanted to chase dreams and shit. And grandparents were we could go down when we could, which was not very often. It sucks because I think having my grandparents in my life would have made me a completely different person. Yeah. I wish I could have 30 minutes with them, both of them. I think they were married for like 50 something years. So there's that. I'm finding it hard to live with grandma at the moment, knowing that she has declined again. But it is also nice to have them at home. So there is I'm debating if I want to put this in the book or not. I don't know if it's going to be too emotional to put in, or if I should just keep that as one of my special memories because it was something that I experienced with just my grandmother. I'll go ahead and tell y'all. I went to visit her the day she died, about 2 hours before she died. I went to my mom's house. This is when I still had a relationship with my family. And I just went down there and visited, and I was sitting in there with my grandmother, and she had the prettiest eyes, like just the prettiest eyes. The color was phenomenal. But once my grandfather died, or I call him Papa and Gunny. I could not pronounce my R's when I was younger, so I called her Gunny, and then anytime my Gunny would slam on the brakes, they made the "erk" noise. Well, my middle name is Erik. Well, every time I heard "ook" or "erk," I would just get really, really, really insanely giggly when I was little tiny old baby in a car seat. So I called my Gunny, and she called me Erk because every time a brake squealed, I would go. Anyways, I went to visit her the day she died. I still remember what the room smelled like. I still remember what was on the TV. I still remember what she was wearing. She was in one of her black oversized muumuus and a pair of pajama pants. I think they were pink and black. And she sat up in the bed, and I saw her eyes go from a dingy, like just lonely gray color to the miraculous blue-green color eyes that she had. And we had a full-on conversation. Like, she looked at me and she knew who I was, said my name, said she loved me, said she was proud of me. And she was like, hey, we should get an apartment together. You know, you can take care of me. We'll just live out and be happy. Told me that I was good. I was going to grow up and do good things. And I saw her eyes go back that dingy gray color. And I literally lost it. I knew it was coming. I didn't want to accept it. I didn't want to believe it. Freaked me out really bad, real bad. So I got in the car and I drove to Warrior, where I was living at the time, and I broke my toe trying to find my cell phone when I heard it ring, because I did not want to. I didn't want that phone call. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to know. I broke my toe because I smashed into something trying to find my cell phone, and I made it from Warrior to Gardendale in a matter of about 10 minutes. Usually that's a 15-20 minute drive. I did it in 10. I got my flashers on and I just hauled ass. I had to see my grandmother, and I sat there with her. And it was kind of weird because everybody else had left the room while they were waiting on, the people to get there and stuff. And I literally stayed in there and sat with her. I didn't say anything. I didn't look at anything. I don't really know how I processed it at all. And I just sat there and I held her hand. Grief changes you when you go through certain things. And I know I may sound like an asshole because I said some really hateful shit about my mom, but you've got to realize that I'm not going to feel the same way that I felt about my grandmother about my mother, because my mother was not there. My mother made a choice. I understand, yes. Did she have to work to provide for her 3 kids? I get it all day long. But from my sister to my brother to me, there was such an emotional disconnect that I honestly had to put some type of context into Burn the Map, where I did not make my mother the complete villain that she actually is. I had to give her some context because everybody would have looked and been like, that dude really hates his mom. The fact is, I honestly hate her. We got in a big fight, and this is when I put up the boundaries. She called me her worst fucking mistake. I was like, okay, I was born premature, almost died, and you're going to call me your worst fucking mistake. Okay. I get it. That's cool. I'm not going to use the same words that I used in the candid interview because I want to be, a little bit mindful of what I said, especially if any of this shit ends up in an award show or something like that. I don't want that word coming out while I'm walking up to accept an award, or it get on the news or something like that, which it's bound to happen. It's 2026. You put it on the internet, they're going to use it. I don't care. I called her a choice word. If you want to hear it, I dropped the link to the interview somewhere in our chat. But there was no emotional connection between me and my mother. My great-grandmother committed suicide. Shotgun blew her head off. My grandmother had mental illness. She died of early onset Alzheimer's and dementia from a bladder infection, if I'm not mistaken. I have other thoughts, though, but I'm not going to share those publicly because I can't do it. My mom said it skipped a generation. So she thought she got off scot-free with no mental illness whatsoever. Instead of honestly taking me to doctors or whatever, she didn't want to admit the word mental illness, or she didn't want to admit the fact that I could have been. We found out when I was 42 that I'm actually autistic, which is, I got vaccinated. That doesn't mean autism, whatever. Anyway, I think it's because of the fact that I stayed overstimulated for way too fucking long. There was no honest like structure or authority. I was doing shit that no 9, 10, 11-year-old should ever do. I had adult responsibilities when I was like 14 and 15. And, just mental illness was something that was not talked about in my family. Autism was something that was not talked about in my family. And, growing up and being 42 and finding out you're autistic and on the spectrum instead of bipolar with schizoaffective and all this other stuff. I haven't been on psych meds since October of 2025. When I left Alabama, I left all my psych meds there. I didn't take them. I'm not going to take them. I don't need them. I'm doing a hell of a lot better now than I ever was being doped up on all them damn pills and shit. And I don't think that's a bad thing, but I'm also more self-aware. I notice when I start getting socially awkward, or if there's a point that I just don't feel comfortable, I do inappropriate shit like language. I will say some off the wall, stupid shit. And I know I shouldn't say those things, but they just kind of fly out. But it's not Tourette's. Like, I'm fully aware of what I do. It's just how I process shit. I do it very inappropriately because, again, it goes back to I had no structure at home. Like, honestly, if they would have put structure in my home when I was younger, I probably would have, like, done really well at school. I'd probably been in the gifted program because I'm telling you right now, I know shit that I should know. I shouldn't have memorized law books. Like, I know the entirety of the Alabama Uniform Residential Landlord Tenant Act. I can recite it. Just stupid knowledge that no normal person should have. Like, it's just one of the things. But I think the creative side of me is where I get genius level crazy. And business side is where I always think somebody's out to get me or screw me over or something like that. So I put more of an analytical approach to it. So the marketing, the graphic design, like building my author presence has been my honest. That's where I've succeeded more. Yeah, did I write good books? They're good. I'm not saying that to be cocky. I'm really not. But I mean, I'm getting the messages from people saying that, hey, I connected with your book. Okay, go leave me a review, please. That gives me, credibility. That gives me social proof that people are actually reading the book and connecting with it and stuff. Yeah, do the award nominations help? They really do. That gives you your credibility all day long. But in August of 25, I knew nothing about publishing, nothing at all. And here it is, June of 2026, and I have a much better understanding of publishing, what to do, what not to do, and all this other stuff. And at the end of the day, so yeah. On a scientific note, Andrew Wakefield started the autism caused by vaccines thing. He did it for money, and he's been entirely discredited and had his medical license revoked. Okay, so I hate to do this because I do have to turn this a little bit comedic because I got a little too heavy in my emotions there for a minute, and that's never good. When I found out I was autistic, I asked him what color. I really did. I was like, ooh, what color am I? Worst thing to say to a doctor when you find out you're autistic. But that's how I process stuff. I process stuff inappropriately. Like when I was doing the eulogy at my grandmother's funeral, I'm not putting this in the book, by the way, because it's inappropriate, and it would fit in the book, and it would draw them out of that heavy emotional chapter right there. But I'm not going to put, I don't know, I might, because the publisher did tell me that I needed to put more stuff in the book. Like, it needed to become a little grittier. It needed to have some teeth. So there's a lot of stuff I left out. Like, I don't want to put my body count in the book. I really don't. Nobody wants to read that. Sorry about it. And plus, there's the opportunity that could get me sued. So I don't think it's appropriate. But, sex sells. So there's that. I have added in some stuff from childhood that was very traumatic. I've also added some stuff in from my, growing up. I've went back and added more stuff. Like, everybody that got hey, just read this and give me your thoughts. Should I publish this? It's completely different than what you have. It's longer. It flows better. Like, I know some of the flowy stuff just like it feels disconnected, jolted. I get it. That's sometimes how I write, though, because I don't want you to read a clear straight through, oh, blah, 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 blah. I jump back and forth. That's what I do. So if something doesn't connect like right off the bat, it does eventually. Give it like 3 sentences or 2 words. It'll connect back up. It'll jump. But so I'm going to do the last call for questions, comments. I am going to run down all the awards and the nods that I got. We'll run through all the retailers where Inheritance of Silence can be found. I'll run through some events for the rest of June, some upcoming stuff, and then I'm going to call it a night because I think 4 hours. And for a first stream, I think I established something tonight. So because I've been able to work through some stuff tonight. So yeah. Zach, you again you are gonna get a signed copy of this book and every other book I write. I'm gonna send it to you after I sign it, because you, sir, if you have your own channel or whatever, I would absolutely love to connect and do something, because you're kicking my ass with these questions, dude. Yeah. On a personal note, in a way it would help if my mother admitted I was a mistake. It is very frustrating when someone refuses to take accountability. So here's the thing. Didn't take accountability, was not emotionally stable, 3 kids at 19, a failed marriage, marriage number 2, you got 3 mouths to feed, and you're just emotionally not available. Yeah. I wasn't your worst mistake, honestly. I don't think I was. If you would have listened and actually took care of me and protected me and stopped the bullshit from happening, maybe I wouldn't have been the way I was growing up. Yeah, did I do some fucked up shit? Yeah, but I had somebody beating my fucking ass and threatening my life, or calling me a faggot in the middle of school hallways, just absolutely terrorizing my life. Still to this day continues to terrorize my fucking life. But, you get one chance in life to be a parent. I'll never get to experience that. The closest thing I'll get, somebody with fur and 4 legs, Christopher Chase, all day long. That's my little fucker. I don't care. But the first generation is there to fuck you up. That's your mother and your father. And then you get the chance to right the wrongs that were made, because they get a second chance as well, because they get grandchildren. Was she good with the grandchildren? Was she a great grandmother? I said it all the time. Hey, you're giving them more than you ever gave us. Are my sister and brother good moms and dads? Their kids don't have problems. But here's the funny part. They all stopped at either 2 or 1 because nobody wanted a remake of me, which I get. I'm a lot. But half the stuff I didn't even want to do. I was forced into do it, or threatened, or I'll beat your ass, or my mom saying, I'll make you go live with your father. Bitch, I don't want to go live with him. I have no relationship with him. You made him the fucking villain. So I could never establish on my own. In the book, you'll find out about it, though. I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to tell y'all about it. I got to leave some secrecy to that shit because I'm fixing to add a fuck ton of stuff to this book because there's no point in me sugarcoating it. If I want to tell the story of my life, it needs to be the story of my life. Like, this book is going to be hella fucking long. It needs to have a fucking trigger warning on it, and we're just going to go from there. I do need to put the messy stuff in the book because otherwise you're never going to get a full sense of me. So, okay. I'm the youngest of 6, and she lost custody of all of us. I was one step above a houseplant on the priority list. I had an adult responsibilities way too young to. Okay, so how do you let somebody raise children? How do you let a child raise children and expect one of them to not be fucked up? But here's my other argument on that. You give children adult responsibilities. That comes with, as my grandmother says, warts and all. I'm done with you. Okay, so like literally, I'm seriously sitting here and I'm wondering, you put a child to raise a child with no adults. How do you expect us to turn out? How do you expect us to be saints of whatever, we're supposed to be? But the girl you put up on a pedestal because it's your girl, I get it. Yeah. And your firstborn son, yeah, I get it. You put him on a pedestal too. But that motherfucker, I'm so glad my filter kicked in. You fucking celebrated and put somebody on a fucking pedestal that needed to be knocked the fuck down, put under the fucking jailhouse, and be done. But the one who's got mental issues and is autistic, I'm the fucking cast off and the black sheep. I'm totally fine with being the family member that's talked about, never fucking seen. Because guess what? I'm in Texas. I'm an author. I have published books. It doesn't look like I'm a fuck up or a fucking mistake. I'm just saying that. I mean, look, I'm not living anywhere cheap. I'm not out doing fucking drugs. I'm sitting here at home on a Monday night talking to people about my experiences being an author and what I've worked through and what I've been able to accomplish in a very short fucking amount of time. Because in April of 2025, I was jobless, carless, homeless. And now here it is, June of 2026. I got an apartment, I got a car, I got a job. I'm a published author. I've got 1 book out, 1 book on the way, 1 book in development with 3 more coming behind it. So call me your worst fucking mistake. I'm definitely going to need a publicist. All right, I feel you in that. In my house, it was Mummy's little boy and Daddy's little girl, and Nicole was the piece of shit you can punch around and treat like dirt. Some people don't even deserve to. Ma'am. So my sister got to go to Disneyland Paris because she was really good at color guard, which I'm happy for her. I don't want to take anything away from her. She tried. She was doing the best she fucking could with limited fucking resources. She had a lot of shit she went through. I'm not taking anything away from her with what I say. I'm also not carrying hatred forward. I don't not like my sister. I just don't agree with some of the shit she did. Like, she could have stood up. She could have said something. She could have backed me up, but she didn't. My brother, I don't give a fuck. I never want to see him in my life ever fucking again. He's a piece of shit. He does not deserve the oxygen he breathes. He's a fucking contradiction, walking contradiction. And I hope to God he sees this YouTube video, because I don't give a fuck. You have no fucking hold over me anymore. Talk all the shit you want. Who's got the fucking receipts? Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. Blessed Yule. Forever in his eye. I don't give a fuck. I'm done with you. And then to my mother. Do I hate you? Hate's a strong word. Were you ever emotionally ready for children? Probably not. Am I having to figure out how to do life on my own without you because I don't want you anywhere near this, because I guarantee you'll find some way to fuck it up? Go ahead and do it. I don't care. Try to fuck it up. Your name is never in that book, because your ID gives you a first, middle, and last name. All of you in my family gives you a first, middle, and last name. If I just say mom, sister, brother, if I don't name you, you can't sue me. This is how I remember my life. Come for me. I wish you would, because it's going to be the best fucking time watching you clamor to not get this book come out. Because at the end of the day, I'm content telling my story. I'm content telling what I went through. I'm content letting people know that, hey, there is a chance for you on the other side of the road. You just have to be willing to look for it and find it. Burn the fucking map. I would put burn the fucking map on the front of the book, but they won't publish it. I mean, I'm sure somebody would, but it'd probably be F beep 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 KING. But at the end of the day, you know, there's always a second edition, or I can make custom covers. But it has been fun tonight. It has been an absolute joy to hang out with y'all tonight, to speak. I hope y'all all feel seen. I hope you feel heard. And I honestly want you to know that my inbox is always open. Email, Discord, Facebook, Insta, TikTok, I don't care. If you need somebody to sit here and listen, I'm down for that. I'm gonna preface it with, it probably end up in a book one day, but I don't post real names. But no. Okay, let's do this one. I did learn from a lot of the older ones' mistake. I was the most stable one because the last thing I wanted was more chaos, but that involved cutting out hopes, wants, and dreams. So I'm going to tell you flat out, I am not in the profession that I ever wanted to be in. I'm not. I wanted to be a band director. I wanted to do, music. I can play 15 musical instruments with no problem. I still remember how to do it, even though I haven't touched one in like 27 years, I think. I don't know. It's been a long time. Well, not 27 years, 25 years. No, I did college too. Shit. About 20 years. 20 years. That's what we'll say. 20 years. I'm nowhere where I thought I would be. Nowhere. I thought I would have already composed my first symphony. I figured I would be playing for a symphony orchestra, just taking music, because music is what saved my fucking life. It helped me get through school. It's how I connect. It's how I learn to process shit. Like, Apple is bad in one way. It puts a playlist, because if you have Apple Music and you pay for the subscription, it'll do curated playlists for you. Well, it has one that's called heavy rotation. That's a bitch right there, because I see what I listen to constantly. over and over and over. And that's also part of my autism. I hyperfixate on shit. I will also investigate the fuck out of something. And I'll keep looking until I can either A, prove I got fucked over, B, no fault, no foul, or C, I make a company change their policies. Because you need to be clear and concise. Because if you're not clear and concise, that's deceptive all day long. And that's all I'll say on that. But yeah, I'm good at what I do. And I'm very thankful for where I'm at today. I really am. So, quick rundown. Inheritance of Silence. It's available off the website. I don't care where you buy it anymore. I really don't. Apparently, all my sales are tracked. I just, anyways, yeah, just buy it wherever. Upcoming events: Birmingham, Alabama, B&A Warehouse on the 13th, Central Alabama Pride Fest on the 14th. Then I'm back in Fort Worth for a week, and then I'm home for the next weekend, and then I'm gone again. I will be in Denver. I have extended Denver's trip out. I was just going to make it the 26th. I'm extending it out to the 29th. Hopefully, if everything pans out and works out, we'll be good there. In July, I will be in Phoenix, Arizona. And then in October, I will be in Hollywood, California. Still scheduling events. Go to the website. If you know somebody that would like to have a type of author like me, just hit the contact me page. I have a press kit. I have media. I have everything on the website. For a first-time author, somebody looked at my site and said, wow, I didn't just say, ooh, look, I wrote a book. No, I built a whole fucking universe. So there we go. I understand branding, marketing, building yourself and stuff like that. It's honestly been a cool thing. Inheritance of Silence is already out. All the retailers are on the site. House of Windows is most likely going to be published in August. Hopefully I can get some damn good press on it and stuff. And awards season starts at the end of 2026. So that's when House of Windows will go out for and see what kind of awards and stuff. Burn the Map, I am going to not release it until sometime in 2027 because I need to make sure that this is the book that I really, really, really want to publish. And right now, I do not think it is there. I think it's got some good bones, but it needs more. It needs to tell my story the way I want it told. I will get with you as soon as I get my. All right, my publisher does not do advanced review copies. It's weird. They do what they call digital. They send me the whole fucking book in a PDF and let me send it out. And then they send it out to their contacts and all this other shit. I get 20 advanced copies, but those are author complimentary copies. I can do as a wish with them. Inheritance of Silence, I pretty much just, yeah. So yes, I will get with you. I don't know if Jesse, if you're still here, message me on the message me somewhere. I know you follow me on something. Get with me and I'll get you a book. Also, I will message you on Facebook, Nicole. I can't tell who all is still here, but I am going to go ahead and close it out for the night because I realized it is 11:32, and sometimes when I get emotional, I talk a little loud, and I don't want to get any noise complaints. So I hope y'all enjoyed this evening. This will be posted on my YouTube channel. So if you didn't get to watch it and you want people to see it and give them a little insight to me, I greatly appreciate it. If you could share it and all that other stuff. Coda should be coming up with gay shit streams hopefully soon. Yeah. I'm down. If you want to host me on whatever, reach out. I'm pretty flexible. Again, the awards are International Impact Book Awards, Author of the Year 2026. I'm a finalist in contemporary fiction. I'm up for 2 American Writing Awards, LGBTQ Fiction, and Book of the Year. I'm also up for the American Fiction Awards, LGBTQ Fiction, and then I'm up for 2 Story Trade Awards. I'm up for Prodigy Best Debut and Contemporary Fiction. So the link is in the chat. I will drop it down again right quick. If you could please go vote. This is 30% of what makes up this award is an actual public vote. So I'm going to post it here again. So yeah, all my socials are on my website. Yeah. Anything I miss? Any final comments, questions, concerns? Yeah, let me know. It is very, very amazing to have so much going on so fast. Like, first-time authors never do this. They don't ever, ever, ever get out there. They don't have the website. They don't have the platform. They don't submit themselves for awards. And oh yeah, if you like this, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It would be great to have an audience occasionally when I want to get on here and rant and let you know about what I'm doing in my life. Yeah. So yeah, there we go. Here is the link to go vote, and then here is, yeah. So thank you all. I greatly appreciate it. You all are awesome. I very much enjoyed myself this evening, and I am signing off and signing out. Douche.